Great day and welcome everyone to today's live. Today is Tuesday, the 18th, guys?
18.
The 18th
Yes.
day of the 11th month, year of our Lord 2025, and we are gathered here today on this Tuesday for our Newbie Tuesday, as we have been hosting for the last 6+ years. I just want everybody to know it's officially been a year as of a few days ago since I've been on TikTok. It has been an amazing experience, including getting my account banned and then having people impersonate me. Who would have thought that I would have saw value in the verification that they Meta has done? Now I'm like, this is why they be doing it. Um, so I know some of you are going to be listening on the recording, and if you are one of the unfortunate people that have been caught by the impersonators, my apologies for not having a way to deter that or make it any different, because there's literally nothing except reporting the page that people can do. So it's great to see each and every one of you here as usual. I hope you guys are inviting your friends to who are open to becoming educated in law and jurisprudence, because it is one of the most effective nonviolent ways to have a revolution. Who agrees?
Yes. Invite your enemies too. I invited a few of mine.
Yep. Yeah, I always notice whenever I come back to the US that I my blood pressure kind of goes up because this is actually not the most peaceful place in the world.
Someone says, I wish I had friends that cared. We all have, if not friends that care, guys, we can all see people online that absolutely need our brand of law education, if you will. We all know that there 3 out of 4 people are being pursued by debt collectors. Is everybody aware of that?
It's
Three out
horrible.
of four people are being pursued by debt collectors.
It's horrible.
Well, 3 out of 4, 3.5, or maybe 3 3/4 of people believe that they are in fact debtors. So
Yep.
what's more horrible, being pursued by a debt collector or the belief that you are a debtor to these corporations?
I don't know. It's pretty close.
Anybody else?
Come on,
Yeah,
y'all. Who
yeah.
else?
And I just drove by the university and the cars are parked in there, and I'm thinking that there's a whole society of debtors.
Well, again, it depend on how they see themselves? 3 out of 4
Yeah.
people are being pursued by debt collectors,
Yep.
and at least 3 3/4 people believe, out of four, believe that they are in fact the debtors.
Yep.
I want you guys to know I recently spoke with someone who realizes they are not a debtor, to the point where, similar to another story you guys have recently been hearing more about, they went to a closing on a home, interestingly enough, in Texas in 2022, and they have never made a singular payment to anyone, and they're still in their home, and they have heard from the grapevine that the folks over here at Lawful Living may be able to assist them to permanently keep their home. I had to commend them. I asked them what made them never make a payment. What made them know that they were not the debtor from jump? This woman has no idea what to actually do, guys. But intuitively, she knew she wasn't the debtor from before she entered into the transaction. And that's why she never made a payment since acquiring the home in 2022.
That's very graceful.
You see what I'm saying? And my colleagues will be able to hear or at least read the summary of the meeting, because just like when we started to attract more people being proactive, not waiting for the debt, like she doesn't even have a debt collector coming after her, guys. Do you hear what I'm saying? Like they didn't even send the notice of substitute trustee, we're going to sell your house on the first Tuesday of the month. And they just happen to also be in Tarrant County. Anybody else near Tarrant County in the house?
Wow.
I, I think I know why Hassan might be saying wow.
Yeah, you know why.
Oh, you mean Warrant County?
Yeah, that definitely could be called that. So, yes, good day, everybody. Welcome in. Gratitude. Linnea is posting the Newbie guide and the As Above So Below series, which is linked also inside the Newbie guide to make it easy for everyone to get to. Um, this particular woman I'm talking about that's never made a payment since the alleged closing in 2022 has watched the As Above So Below series already. They've already taken the Beat the Bar live, and they've also taken at least one other class. And there are people that have been around in this community for years that have still not taken the appropriate classes to cleanse out the guru abuse, basically brainwash yourself, clean it all out from some of the miscomprehensions that we have formulated either for ourselves or adopted from other people we have not verified.
Yeah.
And it's time that we improve that, because there's some people that are not actually equipped to get into the intermediate and advanced classes, but they're in it. They're in it. And we need to
Make it till you
fortify.
make it.
Say that again, Linnea.
Said like a fake it till you make it.
Yeah, yeah. Or fake it till you fall off and then blame the community.
Yeah.
I know you guys are aware of some of that going on as well.
Yeah. I'm going to have to straighten out that case I gave you about the Social Security number with Carmichael versus U.S. He actually lost in the federal courts and the U.S. Court of Claims, but he won on a tort claim. And that was
Was it
unpublished, but
filed simultaneously?
I don't know, but I know it was published in Lexis. It's an unpublished case, but it's in Lexis, and that's where I got it from. And so basically, um, they went through this technical bullshit like we've been going through, and afterwards they ended up paying. That's where they ended up paying him his back pay and his retirement and everything else. that was in a tort claim.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you can't just look up Carmichael versus U.S. because I mean you'll see all the different ways they're avoiding any kind of liability in their case. But if you get it from Lexis, you'll get the unpublished case, which will show that he won in the tort claim. So you have to go all the way. I mean, like, even if you don't get anything from the courts, and you don't always, but I think it's like you said, file the tort claim, um, because they do have liability.
Absolutely. All we have to do is show it. All right. So on Tuesdays we are focusing on our newbies, focusing on those seemingly simple nuances that need to be clarified. As usual, how many have you guys seen recently? People are still asking if they need to correct their status before they stand up for themselves.
I'm seeing less of it in email, so that's nice.
Oh, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Congratulations.
I don't read it anymore because I'm kind of worn out hearing it.
Well, those are the opportunities to invite people to commune with us, is it not?
Yep.
Yes, because I think people that are under that impression, they really benefit from the conversation. Like you can have them read things and study, but having a conversation with people is so helpful to helping them unlearn.
Yeah, I'm still going back through some of the what do they call those? What do they call those stories that float around, like the guru abuse syndrome? I'm still having to correct some of those stories.
Oh
Uh,
man.
I mean, I could have got a lot of this stuff on Channel 19 on the CB radio. Let's put it that way.
So those are definitely opportunities to engage with folks. And I want to shout out, first of all, to our affiliates. I know you guys always hit us up on the 1st and the 15th, making sure that we're getting those affiliate payouts going. So again, congratulations to those who are sharing the links, seeing people commenting, asking questions. Sometimes I encourage you guys to check on the posts that I make in random places on the internet, because I don't always get back to link when people are asking me what class might be related to what we're talking about, or what class might be yielding the results that we posted about. So if um if you guys can keep, you know, an eye on, if you will, my posts in other social media platforms like TikTok and Facebook, etc., you guys will be able to um participate more meaningfully in our affiliate program, which I encourage you guys, if you have not signed up, sign up, share your links out. And of course, it's not just for the classes, it's for the t-shirts as well as the books and plates and things like that. So what else? Oh, also shout out to everybody who is following us now on YouTube. Our YouTube channel has launched, and we are 007, sorry, Lawful Living 007 on YouTube. Put a one in the chat if you're watching the As Above So Below series from there. YouTube is also going to be another place to connect with others that are like-minded and that are asking questions that our classes can answer, which again is one of the perks of being an affiliate with us, because you'll be at the ready when you see those questions being asked, whether you link them to the free classes or you link them to the workshops. That's right, Emporium. We are 007, Lawful Living 007, Secret Agent Man. Y'all already know the reference. Gratitude for subscribing over there, guys. And again, sending people to those links to watch the As Above So Below series, as opposed to on Rumble, or in addition to, I should say, on Rumble. All right. Hoping you guys are enjoying it there. So if you do have any newbie questions, go ahead and raise your hand, and we will get to them in order. Appreciate everybody being respectful. I've been sharing YouTube as above, so below links. Awesome. And of course, you guys can book consultations with either myself or any of our teammates. Linnea primarily does document review.
Only document reviews, no consultation. Don't
There
ask
you
that over
go.
there.
If you want consultations, consult with myself, Hassan, Self, uh, Trading Brigade, Samaya. Y'all already know. Gratitude. All right. So we've got 50 people in the room. How many hands up? All right, we got 2 hands up. I'm going to mute out and let you guys call out the questions to answer. I'll be in and out of this particular call because we are traveling. Go ahead, admins.
Alrighty, party people. Oh, Josette is the first one that has her hand up.
Hi, thank you. I have an update. Last week, my package was stolen, and I actually prayed the guy would repent, and he did. He actually delivered my package that following Wednesday. So, but then this same company delivered a different package to another address, and so these guys are really causing me a lot of grief, and I'm just wondering if I have a position to do a claim, even though I actually got my package back.
Who was it that was delivering the packages?
This was On Track. You know, their original name is Laser Ship, but they come under On Track
You
now.
file a claim against them, is what you're saying?
No, I'm asking if I actually have a claim since I did get the packages, but I mean, I'm telling you, these guys are like driving me crazy. I had to hunt down my package yesterday.
What would be your wish?
I would really like the company that's using them to fire them, but I don't know, you know, I don't know if that would
You
fly.
want to get the guy fired, is what you're saying?
I want to get On Track. I want On Track to be fired from the company that is using them. So I probably would do it to the company I ordered from, right?
Yes, you would do a complaint about the delivery with who you ordered the item from.
Okay. All right. I have my husband went to the hospital and it was VA approved, and I guess he got some notices saying they wouldn't cover it all, so we did get a hospital bill. So how can I, other than ignore the bill, can Is there a way to get rid of it? Make it go away? I have ignored bills, the hospital bills before, and they just go away. I used to work in the medical community industry, and I knew if you ignore them for 3 years, they just write them off. And I don't have any
Do you
credit
hear
for
her
them
putting you guys up on game?
Anybody?
What was said? Say it again.
Me or Malika? Can you hear me okay?
You're a little muffled to me. I don't know about anybody else.
All right, let me go on off of this Bluetooth.
And trying to find the speaker. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much
Yes,
clearer.
that
It
sounds
doesn't.
way better.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you're
Oh,
trying to
okay.
speak through a blanket. So go ahead.
All
We're
right,
listening.
my Bluetooth stinks. Okay, so I have this hospital bill because the VA didn't cover it. My husband it can use the VA, and he may have gotten some notices that told him this wasn't going to be covered. I can't remember because I just handed it over to him. But once a bill comes, he hands it to me. So I have this bill that I want gone. So what are your suggestions? I mean, I could ignore it for 3 years. I've done it before and it goes away.
Who's got an answer, guys?
Is this a newbie question or no?
No,
Send it back.
I'm just giving somebody else an opportunity to answer.
Send it back to the VA. Tell them you want to appeal it.
Okay.
And what is it that you're wondering what to send back or not send back again?
The hospital bill. Because I was under the impression, he may have gotten notices. I was under the impression that he gets authorization to go to the hospital, that they're going to cover it. And they didn't, they covered other stuff, but they didn't cover this one.
That same thing happened to me, excuse me, and I just ignored it.
That's what I was saying.
usually what I
And
do.
she putting you guys up on game right now. She said she used to work in the medical industry. Is it medical industry or medical billing?
I did medical billing.
You guys hear that? And she's saying to everybody coming from the background of medical billing that if you just ignore it for 3 years, they write it off. I hope everybody took notes on that.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
write it
I
off.
did the same thing with workman's comp because they legally not supposed to send you any bills, and they were doing that to me. This is Queen, by the way, and I just ignored them because they're supposed to cover it, and workman's comp sucks. So, yeah.
And I don't have credit, so it doesn't matter if they put it on either one of our credits because we don't do that kind of stuff. We don't have credit cards or anything like that.
So then that sounds like you're good. You already know that if you ignore it. So unless you just want to FAFO and do some other type of process,
Oh, she cut out.
no, I just said if you want, unless you want to FAFO and do some other type of process, you're good.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I know it might mess around a little bit because I really don't care. This is one that I know that will go away at some point. But
Well,
thank you.
that's good to know. You're welcome. Hey, Sharon says, play with your food, get some practice. LOL. Yes. All right. They won't sue. The attorneys will then kick their butts. Yeah. Mark is saying to send the payment impossibility notice. If they weren't supposed to bill you, then it sounds like a law is out there for estoppel of the matter of cease and desist. Yes, good recommendations, guys. All right, so who hands up is next?
Me.
Okay, Queen, go ahead with your question. Common or emotional outburst.
So, greetings,
Peace.
Oh. So I came across a little newbie terror, I would call it. So I was in the car in the automobile with my family, and I was the primary pilot or traveler. And while we were going down the highway, um, I ended up on Jekyll Island, and I was stopped by one of the policy people. However, I do want to put a disclaimer that I did a couple of things like probably not right. I'm trying to figure out how to bail myself out from my own fare. So, I was traveling in my mom's vehicle or automobile. Yeah. And it does have plates. It has all of that stuff, right? So, based on what I understand from the traffic class, that's a problem, but I don't understand how to get out of the problem. Because I did got two tickets. One is for endangering my nieces and nephews because they so-called didn't have appropriate seating, which they could travel on the plane without seats. So I don't even know how that make any sense. And then one is for speeding, which I wasn't speeding, but that's debatable. Um, and so that's the whole story. And then I did have a session with you, Malika, but for some reason the Zoom wasn't allowing you to hear me. So we basically missed each other, but I did go on and I tried to email you, but I don't think you saw it because you were on there with another team member, but we didn't get to talk.
So, what do you think that you've?
Okay, hold on one second. Hold on a second. Are you saying that you took a traffic class?
Yeah, I took the class. I don't think I comprehend the way how I thought I comprehend because like when I got into the situation, I froze up. I ain't gonna lie. Like,
And that's okay because you're not supposed to be trying to educate the fool at the other with the gun on their hip, okay?
yeah, I
So
did try to
what we
upload
do,
the stuff, like what transpired onto my Google Docs with you guys. I don't know if anybody got a chance to see it before my meet on Saturday, but I didn't end up getting a chance to speak to you because for some reason, I don't know, I saw you guys on, but nobody could hear me, so I guess you guys didn't think I was on. And then you left and I sent the email, but then I didn't get any response back. So
okay, well, we're gonna have to look into that. But getting back to your situation that actually happened. So whenever anybody gets pulled over, this is a perfectly good question. Always just take the ticket. Just take the ticket. If they say, oh, you don't have your license, you don't have your registration, you don't have your insurance, you don't have this, that. Oh, I left it home, right? I didn't have it on me. If you give me the ticket, I'll be on my way to get it corrected. And then of course, once you get the ticket, as it instructs in the class, we show you how to evaluate the ticket so that you can make a proper response, which is in the form of two things. A notice to the court so they know that there has been an error that the court needs to scrutinize, which the error is, of course, holding us to commercial or public statutes when we were operating in our private capacity. And the fact that typically, if they're alleging to be enforcing some type of code or statutes, like speeding, for example, means that you were driving, and in order for you to be driving, of course, you have to be in the capacity of in trade or business. So you have to hold them to proving that capacity. And of course, if they can't, and since they can't ever prove that capacity unless we are, as Stephen's shown, carrying around our manifest or something like that, then they are, violating a lot of different things, misappropriation of funds, false claims, etc., which is why we do the tort claim as well as the notice of report. So watch the class again if you have access. Make sure you have your tickets with you and to create your paperwork. If you want to reschedule a consultation, just go to whatever confirmation email you had and click the reschedule.
Okay.
I hope that answered your question and others who might have the same.
Yeah, I guess like for me, it was just like I had an idea based on being in class before of what I was supposed to do. And I had like 5 people, including the 4 babies in the car. And I kind of just got fearful because I didn't want it to escalate to one of those things where I go in the back of the car and get transported.
Exactly. And that
Even
is
though
exactly the reason
I didn't mind on my own, but not
right.
with the babies in the car.
And that is the
And
reason to
so,
just take the ticket.
yeah.
I hope everybody sees that. That is the reason to just take the ticket. Does everybody see that? Even if you're by yourself, unless you have time to FAFO and end up in the back of the car, which will give you further damages to be able to claim on your tort claim. The thing to do is exactly what you did. Take the ticket.
And then the next thing, like I was asking the guy, the policy enforcer, if this was federal land, which I wasn't sure of because a lot of stuff historically happened
Yeah,
on
but
this area.
those are the
So
types of things that get you in handcuffs and get you in jail.
no,
Whenever you
okay,
guys are
okay.
approached by these agents with guns on their hip and quotas to fill, you are bargaining with the devil at the side of the road, endangering your life and the life of the people you are with. Of course, we are all adults, and everybody may and will do whatever they wish. I'm only telling you guys what I do and what I advise my children to do and my family to do. We are not educating actual C and less, D students on law or manners or nothing. Is everybody with me?
Okay.
When thugs are standing with guns at the side of your car, it's yes ma'am, no ma'am. Thank you very much for the ticket. You enjoy the rest of your quota.
Okay, so I do have a question in reference to that. If you had a license for commercial use and you present it, does that automatically disqualify you for a tort claim?
Absolutely not. You have a thug standing at the side of your car with a gun. How can you be held liable to anything that you may do or even say in order for you to make it out of that situation alive? I wouldn't ask any questions unless it's are you prepared to give me the tickets now, or are you gonna mail them to me? Maybe
Yeah,
you might
and
ask that, but
I'm
don't
happy that
ask.
I was in the situation because it helped me to kind of like put some practicality to it, Malika. Because like learning without practice is like you just have the information. And
And
now
you
that
don't
I've been
actually
in the
know it.
situation, I could honestly say it's terrifying, guys.
It's
Because
only terrifying because you at least try to find fantastical things to say to not get the ticket,
no,
as
no,
if
no, not in
receiving the
reference to
ticket
the
is.
ticket. I was okay to get the ticket. I was more terrified that like, you know, because of my location, because I was in Georgia, and I don't know if you guys familiar, them suckers out here ain't so nice. So that's why I was more of that way, like kind of just let me get home with
Anytime
these
an
four
armed
babies.
thug, anytime and a stupid, especially, okay, armed thug is approaching you, your life is in danger. Okay, and that is why we comply as best as we can with their demands. That's all I'm saying. Somebody
Okay.
asked in the comments, so I shouldn't be asking questions. And my answer is Malika wouldn't be asking any questions except, can you hurry up and give me a ticket so that I could not only get on my way, but I will have proof of misuse of funds, malfeasance, and all types of other things, evidenced by the fact that here this ticket now exists without any admissible evidence that I was engaged in the activity that could have rendered a proper ticket. Does everybody understand? Yes or no? Let's talk about it right now if you don't.
Yeah, because the court has already said when they approach you in uniform, that's assault, and with the gun, it's aggravated assault. So they've already gone to what they call the use of force continuum. So they're just going to escalate, and that's the purpose of that. So don't do it. Take the ticket.
Someone says I was cocky my last two stops. I won't do it again. I'm going to commend you on that. There's no heroism in talking to the unarmed thug with a gun. That's just looking for reasons to use it. Or again, they have quotas. Right now, I need you guys to be aware that two former policy officers, state troopers, are suing the state or their former employer for the quotas for DUIs. If they have quotas, you have to arrest people. You have to arrest a certain amount of people for DUIs, guy. If you have to arrest a certain amount of people to meet a quota, are you not right at the cusp of violating rights?
Yeah, the
I
trooper
have a
said
quota.
that.
That means people who are not even drinkers, people who do not engage in any alcohol are being arrested for DUIs, guys, are being
Yeah,
prosecuted for DUIs, are racking up thousands and thousands. Right here in Washington, it's
yeah,
$10,000 you get a DUI.
yeah,
$10,000 you're gonna pay to an attorney that is simply gonna take a plea deal, and you're gonna promise to pay them 10 grand to keep an eye on you for a certain amount of time.
yeah.
Incentivized violence, Sophia says. Absolutely. That's a 10 grand. And then of course take your license away, or they put one of those breathalyzer things in your car that you gotta blow in. That's some BS.
Yeah, because he told me if I didn't sign the whatever it's called, the paper, then I could be arrested. And I said, I'm not signing, sir. Thank you. I took the paper from him and then I drove up.
Yeah, but you still got the tickets. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have evidence of everything that you need. So just watch the class again, okay?
Okay.
And just follow the directions in there. And therefore your concepts could become actual knowledge because you'll be going through the action steps. That's
Yeah,
what
I
makes
guess
this.
I got a little bit confused because I wasn't sure if I was supposed to take like the class was referring to like the Kingdom Highways and stuff. And so I just needed a little bit more clarity basically on how to comprehend what I digested. So now I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
the
back
main thing
again
is to
and get the
have
same
your
proof.
ticket in front of you and watch the class again
Okay.
on exactly how to you get the information from your tickets and do a proper tort claim as well.
Okay.
Yes,
And then
Imperium.
I can
One
still
thing.
send
Go
it
ahead.
to I can still send it to Linnea for document review before I
If
submit it.
if you need it, yeah, you connect
Okay.
with Linnea.
And
Send it if
I
you need
just
it.
following up with you on the water situation. I send out the notices. to three people, the Florida commissions, the actual place, the actual water place, Orange County utilities, and the mayor, I believe.
Okay. So make sure you follow up with them to see if they have received it and what they
Oh,
can
I
do.
sent it certified so that they had to sign to get it. So they sent me back the receipts. Now the only thing though with that, I didn't get to do the franking system
That's okay.
because the lady in the post office, she was pretending like she didn't understand what I was saying, and she told me, "Oh, there's no way to send free mail." So I just left because I wasn't trying to educate her, and I just sent all of them and put them on the plastic notification as a credit card.
You don't do it
Okay.
from the post office. You do it from your home office, so to speak.
Oh, you do it from the home office. Okay, so that was where I made the error.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
been every time people get
okay,
into some form of sending correspondence without transacting for it, it's always been shared to do it from home.
okay. That's where I made my error. So take note, guys. Do it from home.
All right. Thank you for your questions.
Thank
I
you.
want to make sure that I speak on something else that I see going on in the chat too, since this is the Tuesday. Do not speak in Latin to dummies. Do not write VC when you don't even know what the VC stands for. You cannot write out the entire phrase yourself because you don't know how to spell it. You're talking in code to dummies. They don't know what you're saying either. When you feel, because it is only a feeling, forced to sign, to autograph a traffic infraction or ticket or anything else, I suggest, and of course, again, as adults, do whatever the hell y'all want. I would write under duress completely, not U.D or any other abbreviation. UNDER, DURESS. Not sign my name and then write under duress, or sign something else, or write something else, and then totally on the signature line. What Malika would do on the signature line, I would write the two words under duress and nothing else. Y'all can write whatever else y'all want as adults. But for me and my experience and knowledge of helping others, only the two words under duress will do what it's supposed to do. A probation officer teacher in the jail basically said it was slavery, and she called me a sovereign citizen to other inmates. Yeah, well, what's interesting is sometimes we get called a sovereign citizen and it's totally out of place. I get it, right? And it's meant to be used as a derogatory term. There's two things you could do. You can either realize that being called a sovereign is actually a positive thing and thanking them for recognizing that you are their sovereign in your private capacity and them being the servant. You can thank them for recognizing, or you can disclaim that you don't even know what that means. You don't even know what that means. Because do you actually know what it means? Do you actually know what it intended? Sometimes they say it, and it's kind of like when people see you wearing glasses and they call you four eyes, or you got a big forehead, or
They
you
just
got
want
a.
something to say.
They just want something to say. Absolutely, and gratitude for that, and it's nothing at all. Or you could flip it to be something positive. It's up to you how you want to take that. But sometimes we are saying bullshit. We're saying complete nonsense. And we ourselves don't realize what it is we're saying. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes people will say things like, oh yeah, I went in that court and I told them that I'm the living man, I'm the living woman. I told them I'm alive, because we miscomprehend and conflate art, what is artificial, with being dead. And it might seem like a slight thing. Don't you guys agree? It might seem like such a slight thing, like how sometimes we'll say, I told them that I'm not a this. I told them I'm not a resident. I told them I'm not a citizen. And we conflate that with the articulation that the record doesn't reflect that capacity. Seems like a small thing, right? Be honest. Seems like a small thing. Seems like, well, yeah, that's exactly what I said, or that's what I meant. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, when I told them I wasn't a citizen, that's what I meant. I meant that I'm not, the record doesn't reflect, it's not the same thing. Does everybody realize that? It's not the same to say, I am not a citizen.
You're breaking up, or is it just me?
This,
Nah, she's breaking up.
oh, man. It's going to get better in a second. I'm being interfered with in the Air Force Base. So, someone says I signed VC and spent a year in jail. Wow. They don't know what you're saying. All right, can you guys hear me better now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was saying that the difference between signing your name and writing under duress, the difference between how you take being called a sovereign citizen. One, you can take it as a compliment, or you can disclaim no one means, or you can recognize that perhaps you were saying some BS that is off the mark, even if it might be ever so slightly. For example, there are people who say, I told them I'm not a citizen, as opposed to the correct articulation, which is the record doesn't reflect any admissible evidence that I'm a citizen. And we sometimes do not see the difference. Did you guys hear what I'm saying? Do you comprehend what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yes.
Can somebody reiterate it? What Malika just said?
I'm not just saying or telling them that I'm not someone who qualifies, but I'm saying that the record does not reflect that I am one who can be subject to these things that you're trying to subject me to.
Which one do we think is more
I
reliable? Us
believe
saying
Malika
that we're not?
said the record does not reflect the admissible evidence pertaining.
Okay, see, you guys are just trying to get my exact words instead of what I am meaning and what I am saying.
And am
I'm
I
saying
asking
that
that?
there's subtle differences. No, you're on point, Seven. There's
Okay.
subtle differences between, and I'm giving just an example of saying I told them this and I told them that, as opposed to saying articulating as the record doesn't reflect admissible evidence. Some of us see that as a small thing, and we might even say, "Oh, well, that's what I meant when I said I am not a this and I'm not. I meant that the record doesn't reflect it." But it is the difference of how you articulate it that might get you called a sovereign citizen or not. It's the difference of how you say it that will get you taken seriously or being dismissed. It is a difference in the articulation that will make the difference. Remember, as I said before, not everything that is true is necessarily relevant to what you wish to articulate. And some of us get tripped up Because
Oh,
yes,
yes, that's a
what you're
fact.
what you're saying is true, but it's not necessarily relevant to this situation right here that you want to articulate. And I'll give another example. Sometimes we are correct in using references to the federal code if we can show how it ties in to whatever the situation is that the opposing party is talking about, or right. So for example, even going back to the traffic stuff, if we can show the connection between 49 CFR 350 or 360.5 with several of the motor vehicle codes of the state reference, if we can tie that together, then we might be able to show why we are using Title 49 or any other part of the federal code to support some point that we're making. However, most of the time we don't make that connection. And so perhaps it's better to use the state level code to make the same point we wish to make. Are you guys following me?
Yes, you have to speak the language that they speak. It's bad enough that they don't really even read it. But if you're speaking federal and they're speaking state, you're going to look crazy.
Exactly. It's like when we go, we actually do apply to work somewhere. Y'all know I love to say the Target example. And then
Word.
when we go to work and they tell us, oh, you wore a yellow shirt, you're supposed to be wearing the red one, and we start talking about our constitutional rights. Do you guys understand? It's like the person, if you actually work for Target and they're telling you you wore a yellow shirt and you're supposed to wear a red one, and you start talking about your constitutional rights, are you not going to seem crazy?
Correct.
However, if I don't work for Target and they start talking to me about wearing any color shirt, I can start talking about my constitutional rights. Does that make sense? So I can make the same argument, which would be wrong in someone else's context if they did work for Target. I can make the same wrong argument for that person be the right argument for me. Does everybody understand? It's all about the context. So that when we do communicate, we are hitting the target. We are hitting the mark and not just saying true things that just happen to be irrelevant here. Everybody understand? Everybody have questions? These are the types of things that are showing up in our paperwork, where when we are reviewing other people's paperwork, whether it's one of our colleagues or one of our study mates, you read a sentence and you're like, is that quite saying what you're meaning or what perhaps you need to be meaning? Yes, Sophia says be cognizant of what argument you're making when communicating. Be sure you're hitting the target by saying things that are relevant. I should have learned this a long time ago. Well, isn't that the purpose of Newbie Tuesdays, right?
Malik, excuse me, Malik, I have a question. What type of record would reflect that one is a citizen?
That's very interesting. So we did an exercise that we searched the codes for the definitions of things like citizen or resident. People think resident means someone who simply lives in a home somewhere. And that is not what the state defines resident to be. For example, in Nebraska, when you go searching for the definition of resident or anything where it's talking about
residents, it goes to the comptroller of the county and something about elections. So you might find that citizen is the same thing. It's like, oh, it's a capacity. So the record that would show that capacity should exist somewhere. It should actually exist.
Somebody,
It's not something that you are born.
So,
right,
like,
there
if you
better be
have
a
a
record showing
passport
that my
card,
presence has been deemed necessary.
Well, you see, there you go, because that's what it says on the federal. It talks about the board, a board that consists of the Secretary of Treasury and the Secretary of Commerce, who had some kind of event where they deemed your presence necessary.
So all those people should know me then, if I'm a resident.
Or any other prerequisite that the record should reflect. Because the first thing, it's interesting, the question is, what type of record would exist? And what's funny is, based on our experience, no record exists. So perhaps we don't know what type of record should exist, since no record exists of anything at all. It's not even like a record in error. It's no record.
yeah, because I had somebody just commented that said, "Oh, like an application for something." Like, so if you have
Yeah,
a passport card, would
maybe.
that make
But
you
can
a
you show me
citizen?
that Can you show me the application? Can they show you the application when you ask? Hey, if they say an application for something is what made you the citizen or the resident, let's say let's say that's the answer. Can
Hmm.
they show you that application?
Probably not.
We
Because
can
I do have a passport from the
now you
federal government.
self-incriminating. Now you self-incriminating.
But
Do you have
but-
do you have an application for that passport?
no, I don't. Yeah,
Okay.
good
Do
opposite.
they have an application for that passport?
I don't
And
know.
I'll use my example again for myself. It might seem like it doesn't fit, but you guys have to start thinking a little more creatively. So I had a situation where in January 2019 or so, or 2020, I don't remember, the policy officers harassed me while I was sitting in a Walgreens parking lot waiting for our precious Sunny that's on this call today at near 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. And they stole my identity and created a driver license account. Now, after they did that, I received a letter in the mail saying that the driver license account is going to be suspended if I don't pay something or do something. So I called the Department of Licensing because Washington doesn't have a DMV. So don't get confused. They don't have a BMV, they don't have a DMV. They have a DOL, Department of Licensing, and that's it. So I called the Department of Licensing and I inquired, how does this account come into being? How is it created? By what mechanism? And they said it's created by application. And all I did was ask them if they had a copy of my application that would connect me to this account that now exists. And they said no. They cannot find an application for me. So at that point, does it matter if I actually applied or not, since there's no existence of an application? The fact is that an error exists now on the record if it's required for there to be a record of an application in order for the thing that's connected to the application to be legit. Why do we think that makes a difference if the thing that's existing that we connect to application is a driver license or passport or anything else? It's like when the attorneys show photocopies of debt instruments and say that that's what supports the existence of a debt. If there is no original, then whatever is derived from the original that cannot be found must be what? Anybody knows what it's called when a copy of something exists, but the original of the
Forgery.
thing? There you go, Ashley. Forgery. A forgery. So the account must entirely be a forgery if it's supposed to be based on an application that doesn't exist or the record doesn't reflect at all. That's the other reason why it's important that it's not just us saying, I am not this and I am not that, and it's not this, it's not that. And we think that it's a small thing, a minor thing, but it is the whole of the thing to say the record doesn't reflect. That means it could actually be so, and they can't prove it. So they could just jump off a bridge. Questions, comments, emotional outbursts about that?
Yeah. Yeah. When I wrote all over my first passport, with the sovereign citizen bullshit, uh, and they sent it back to me after it expired for like a long time. I sent it back to them to get a new one, and they said that they told me that I can't write on it because it's their property, and if they did that, if I did that, they would revoke it and take it back. And so they were telling me that it's not mine. It's not even my identity. I mean, it was theirs. It's ours, so don't write on it.
That's strange to people who think that one is the best of both worlds. They want both. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want permission from the government, but then they don't want the government to regulate that permission. All right. Garvey, go ahead with the question, comment, or emotional outburst.
Okay, how's everybody doing? Appreciate
Peace.
having the time with you guys. It's always learning 24/7. I did revise and go through what I had showed you guys last week with the claim. And so I don't know if I can share that or if I could just tell you about it. I don't know how you want to do that.
You can go ahead and share your screen. Let me see if I could do it from my side.
You'll have to choose him individually.
Wow, let me see if I can do that.
You just got to click on him and make him co-host temporarily.
I did send a request. Okay. Cool. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, it's up now.
Okay, cool. So, so the last correspondence that I got from the dealer was that this right here. What did I just do? Okay, it was this right here. This is what they sent me. All vehicles on our lot are purchased by our organization from the manufacturer with the intention of reselling them. Your emails clearly indicate that you're not interested in purchasing the vehicle, but are seeking to obtain one at no cost. I have previously mentioned every car on our lot is intended for resale to consumers. This will be my final correspondence regarding this matter. So the last claim that I did, which didn't really have, I guess, like, Malika had asked me a question of like, why was I entitled to it? And I didn't have an answer to her, but I feel like I have an answer now. So, but I did draft this not notice of liability and intent to sue first, and I sent that today. And then I also have like the claim waiting in the background. So, but this is it right here. It just says, greetings, I, McGarvey Wilkins Chaperone, a private, peaceful man, come in peace. This letter serves as a formal notification of my intent to pursue action at law against Smith Auto Group and Nissan LLC due to fraudulent activities, misrepresentation, and violations of my constitutional rights in connection with the acquisition of my property identified above. Despite previous attempts to communicate and resolve these issues, your refusal to engage further leaves me with no alternative but to seek lawful remedies to protect my interests and obtain my property. Notification of liability is the first essential element of due process of law. And this is, I got this from the Feed the Fam. Notice that was in there. As silence is acquiescence under the law, silence can only be acquitted with fraud where there is a lawful or moral duty to speak, or where an inquiry left unanswered would be misleading, whether intentionally or not. It goes into what the obligations of the United States are, how I'm not a resident or a citizen or a Federal Reserve agent or a bank. I did attach the UCC with the hands and legs. And I put at the bottom here, due to these facts and having the natural I should put it in, but unalienable right to life, liberty, and property, do exercise such rights as a private man created by the Almighty God to exercise dominion and acquire property. I am willing to acquiesce to whatever markdown, charge, or process. This is again from from the Feed the Fam. Used by management for the sake of inventory and accounting if preferred. However, I cannot in good faith be forced to participate in the fraudulent use of the Federal Reserve notes in the system. And I gave them 3 days, and then I added some points that are recent. The ones that were on the some of the URLs that was on the original Feed the Fam, they don't have them up there anymore. So like there was one on the Treasury website that talked about the fiat currency having no value, but they don't have that. You can't access it anymore. And then they have like a different section and they word it differently, basically trying to cover it up. And so this is what I had for that. And then after that, if they don't respond, then I have the tort. So initially I did the tort under like I think it was like Title 10, which was like Motor Vehicle Franchise Practices Act. But that's kind of like arguing from the standpoint of an agent, like against another agent. That's kind of how I understood it after like I had the session with you guys last week. And so I kind of changed, I did it as an equitable um proceeding. And then so I had like, go ahead.
So I have another question for you.
Yes,
I do
ma'am.
too.
Oh, you go first, Hassan.
Um,
I
as
do
he
too.
started reading, um, I had looked to see at the top of your paper to see what state it was. And it sounds like, as far as the jurisprudence is concerned in the substantive law, you are doing your best to assert that. However, I think for Georgia, since you're seeking to acquire something, right?
This is black on the whole thing.
I think, and I'm open for correction here, but I'm going to say it and then I'm going to suggest you look it up while you're sharing screen, is that you do an injunctive relief, which is a pre-deprivation measure for Georgia under UDPTA, I think it's called. Type in UDPTA.
UB or D?
UD, as in David, PTA, Georgia. UDPTA, Georgia. I think
Oh,
that's what it's called. or UDTPA. UDTPA. Yeah, UDTPA. That's what it is, Georgia. UDTPA, Georgia. I think that is what you are intending to proceed with,
Okay.
because it is a pre-deprivation measure, whereas the FBPA in Georgia, as in Frank, Barry, Paul, Allen, is a post deprivation measure or action, so to speak, that one can take. So,
Yeah, post.
so it sounds like you're seeking to obtain an automobile. So, in order to foresee deprivation, or you think that you are going to, or you have a hunch that you're foreseeing deprivation prior to it happening, it would probably be best to research the UDTPA for pre-deprivation purposes. That would just be my suggestion to read. What does it say here? But I mean, we don't have to read it because I don't want to monopolize the time in questioning, because I know Malika had wanted to ask a question prior to my question. But I'm just saying, I think that might be what you're intending to do pre-deprivation. Anything post-deprivation would be, as far as, you know, the consumer situation, would be the FBPA in Georgia. And I yield.
So my question is, what compels the dealer to have to do business with you, since you're um asserting the record doesn't reflect you're this or that, or whatever consumer or whatever they're supposed to be dealing with? Okay, what duty do they have to do business with you?
Um, I guess like it's not. I don't know if like maybe I'm overthinking the word business, but if I am a man and man has dominion, and this thing that's a corporation is subject to the dominion of man, then I should be able to take what it is as a man exercising his dominion. That's how I understood it.
But that's just still your perspective. Does anybody else understand what I'm saying? Anybody else want to attempt to answer as if you're in the situation?
Would have to be in a commercial relationship with the dealership.
What entitles the man or woman to get whatever they wish from the dealership? What is the thing that what binds the dealership to have to fulfill that request?
Make an application.
Anybody else?
Duty.
What created that duty?
Congress.
Yeah, what specifically?
USDA.
When it says that the Congress has the right to pay all the bills or debts.
Anybody else? I like how you guys are guessing. Anybody else?
Is it the Treasury?
Full faith and credit.
Can you explain how that makes a duty, creates a duty for anybody to do anything for you at all?
If you give full faith and credit, um, I don't know. There's a scripture that says, "Don't." I don't know. I don't think that's relevant. But if you give the full faith and credit, then that doesn't that mean it belongs to you, and whatever whatever proceeds come from the full faith and credit, including whatever's at the dealership or anywhere else, under like this duty that is obligations of the United States.
Transaction of trade and business.
About being the collateral of the hands and legs of the UCC?
Um, I okay, for me right now, I'm gonna do my best to make it Georgia specific, even though the Malika's question is universal, right? And maybe we could see a little bit of the duty, maybe one kind of a duty that a quote unquote car dealership could owe. And if you look, McGarvey, I think that's McGarvey, right? Who's sharing,
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir.
Um, Bring up the FBPA for Georgia so you can see what duty is owed. FBPA.
You mean like the corporate charter?
Well, I mean, what I'm going to bring up here is one means of looking at a particular duty that is owed by the dealership. And I could just say it, but I don't want to just say it. I think it should be read because it's not that long, right? And it should show you what it is, right? Um, Now
Like
that
the
you're here,
requirement, like the
so
requirement to.
I'll give an example. There was a case where a guy wanted. It was funny enough. It was an attorney who saw an advertisement for a particular automobile that he desired because the color of the body, fender, and bumpers were all the same. Upon going to the car dealership, after calling them, letting him know he's coming down there to purchase what he saw, the automobile he saw advertised. Once he got there, after disappointment, of course, it wasn't there. You know what I mean? So he decided to sue this particular car dealership using the UDTPA and the FBPA. His motion was partially granted on the FBPA because you cannot advertise something, right, as something, and then when someone comes to get that thing, they're unable to get it. So that's why the FBPA is a post deprivation action for damages. However, where this particular attorney who had proceeded pro se, got once the car dealership appealed, the decision was reversed because even though he didn't get the automobile he wanted, he ended up getting a totally different automobile where the fenders and the bumper did not match the body. And the amount that he was paying per month was almost $200 more than what he saw from the other dealership. All right.
I like the audiobook.
So
I like CDs. I've been collecting DVDs. I want to just connect to the internet.
okay, thank you, y'all, because I was going to look for it myself. Gratitude. So what happened was, in the reason why I got reversed is because this attorney who proceeded pro se showed no damages. He didn't show how he was deprived as far as the FBPA, right? It seems like the UDTPA would have been great to have put in prior because it is the sole remedy for a consumer to do injunctive relief, period. That's the sole remedy in Georgia for consumer protection as of 2025 that I see. And that's what the UDTPA covers. Now, that didn't happen for him on the UDTPA. The reason why the FBPA thing got reversed, because I think, now this is me, I think if he would have said, here is my quote unquote car note for this other automobile that I got, because these people didn't advertise it, so I had to settle for this over here. Since I sued, what I should have done was brought my car note or the statement for the whole thing, and then that could have possibly been the damages? Possibly. But since there was no receipt of damages, there's no document, no record, and I'm open for correction after I yield. Since there was no document, right, he could not substantiate the duty owed outlined in the FBPA because he didn't have anything to show to receive damages for. So the duty owed in that situation was, don't do false advertisement.
Right.
Don't be
And
lying.
Okay.
right.
So with that being said, when we're looking to take advantage of our dominion and the things made therefrom, maybe we should be looking for how our deprivation can be framed based on what the particular state already provides as remedy for said deprivation. That's
But he
why it
didn't
says,
have any.
go
He
ahead.
didn't have any actual. He didn't have any actual damages that he could show. That's a problem.
Correct. And that's why I said if he would have brought his statement every month or whatever the so-called, total of this automobile that he now has, that's still not what he wanted. If you're going to sue, then why not just be like, well, hey, look, now I have this bill here that's $200 more than advertised of what I originally wanted from this other car dealership. And now since I'm dealing with this and I'm not happy, even if I got to get to and fro where I need to go, here's the damages that I'm saying. And that's why I got overturned. That's my theory of why I got overturned. But the appellate court, the judge, I think it was Judge Ruffin that reversed it. The appellate court for Georgia was like, well, there's no damages, so we don't know how. And there was no appellate brief stating it either. So we reversed the decision.
Exactly.
But the
Yeah, I would expect
question was what compels the dealership to do business with you?
And I'm saying that compulsion comes from advertising honestly. Because if you don't, now you're compelled to pay out the damages if one can present damages from false advertisement. That's the only angle that I could see right now. However, I yield so that Malika could share what she sees.
Oh, you need a quid pro quo to get that.
I was gonna ask you, could I show the what I have at the bottom?
Hold on one second. Malika, what would be a reason why someone would owe a duty to do business with someone, or do they not owe a duty to do business with them? If Malika's available to speak, I know she's moving around. Or if anybody else wanted to answer too, you guys can also.
The stores that I dealt with, like delivering trailer loads of goods to stores, what they do is they advertise that they have these big sales on products and stuff, but they don't have them at the store. What they do is they go out and they'll say to the driver, no, you have to get this stuff to the store by 8 o'clock in the morning. If you don't, we're going to get fined, or we're going to get this and that, because they had already advertised the sale publicly. So if they don't have it, then they're in trouble. But that's the quid pro quo. They already offered. They made the offer, and they have to have the goods in the store for sale. So I could say that if they offered something, then, if they offered the car, I'd go back to like the Constitution, you have the right to acquire and possess property of every kind. Their duty is, I think their duty is where they advertise something for sale. So that they should have it.
Now, if I was to get universal with it, I would be thinking, what, 7 USC 2201? Was that it? Is that it? Is that the? Is that the right one? Is it 7
28,
USC?
28, 28.
Oh no, that's declaratory relief. I'm going for the whole agriculture here.
Could it
That's
be
why
Article 1, Section 8, Clause 5?
I'm going still for 7 for agriculture, and I'm not sure if it's 2001 or 2201 or
For the establishment
3001.
of the department.
There we go. Oh, I was right. Okay. That's the only other thing I could possibly think of. But even some might say, well, that might just be dealing with the fruits and vegetables. But I'm just thinking anything made from the earth, including the automobile, right? Wouldn't that all be agriculture? Or no? Oh, that's not considered agriculture.
There's no
I
such
don't
thing as
know.
farmers, but there are fish farmers.
I don't know, but I know if the store offers stuff for sale and it's not in that store coming that day when they announce the sale, they're in deep doo-doo.
I think that's for food, huh?
Uh-uh. They share everything. Everything.
I'm talking about that Title 7 right there.
I
Yes, but
mean,
everything regulated by them, which is
I,
a lot.
The resources.
I mean, is agriculture just food?
No, no.
Oh,
But it said to distribute amongst the people seeds and plants.
What kind of plants? Is that
Valuable seeds and plants.
is that an automobile plant? I'm just curious.
Could be. They call it that.
So I see. If I could provide feedback, I'm still not properly phrasing this tort here. At least, uh, in the one that I did send, that's because that's kind of like the basis, the 7, and then I added that the UCC as well when I sent the notice. But I noticed that from what you said, Hassan, the phrasing of my tort is still not fully like if like basically how you explain how if it went to appeals, it would have got smacked because this thing doesn't fully communicate what I'm trying to relay it back to in this
Yeah,
section.
And what are
yeah,
you
you're
torting them
just
for?
I was torting them for like initially it was for a violation under Title 10 for motor vehicle franchise practices. So I was thinking initially like this is what you can regulate by law, but there's nothing that says that you can charge me for a vehicle or whatever. That's what I thought initially, and then you guys were like, "Well, why are you entitled to that?" And then I was stumped, and so then I went back, and then I was looking at the equity and I was looking at some more videos and it was like more so leaning towards misrepresentation and also the USDA because all the Federal Reserve notes, as far as I understand, are tied to the USDA. And if this is their uh, duty to procure, propagate, and distribute among the people, that means that they have a duty to do that. But when we go and we try to use the Federal Reserve System, then we become instrumentalities of the United States. And so I'm not trying to be an instrumentality. That's why I told them through the emails, I'm not trying to do it for business. Um, but I think that I can phrase. I think that the notice. I don't know what. So do you think the notice was good? Like after what you've seen, is it bad? I
I
think the
think
I,
tort is.
what they were saying was that you are okay. They were distributing to consumers. So I mean, the consumer is a business, though, as they define it. So what else did they say?
Can you say that
I
one more
think
time?
What else did they say besides the dealers distributing to consumers for sale because the consumer is a business. So I think they're looking for natural persons there.
This is what they said. They just basically saying that I need a driver's license or a social security number and a valid US. If I was paying cash, then I would not require a driver's license, but a valid US ID, which still requires a social. So
Right. So they're only dealing with, so they're only selling to um, business. So I'm not, I'm not sure if that, does that have an interference in commerce? Or is that a discrimination based on
Did you fill out the
nationality?
application?
I didn't fill out any application. I just made the I just went to the website and I made it. And then this is what they said. Thank you for building your Armada Pro 4X. And that's kind of where I started because that's where I seen in the video. So I was just kind of reasoning from there.
In
You
the
know what I'm saying?
There's
beginning,
Malika, but Malika, nobody answered your question yet.
Okay.
is really
If a narcissist was honest.
that's why it's so popular.
Wouldn't it be an economic injury?
At least the way I could show you guys the way that I specifically said it in my joint. Oh, it was cruel and unusual punishment is what I put in the notice. But
Oh, and then this one, this lady, I had to leave her voice in there. This one.
this new or reasonably should have known.
Ain't no reward for being a motherfucker's number one dummy.
And would violate.
Trying to help this raggedy motherfucker, and they got the audacity goddamn D to be
So this right here.
as though you're the one with all the motherfucking.
So I was just trying to say that, you know, they're
Malika,
trying
your
to.
mic's open.
Wet parakeet.
Okay, this is kind of where I was thinking, like right here. Maybe that it's not substantive enough or substantive enough. The defendant, through his agent, deprived the plaintiff of his private right to property in an attempt to force a commercial transaction for private use. Is that good? Is that bad? Am I still like, you know, should I just trash it? Anybody? Feedback?
How did they do that?
Say again.
How did they do that?
By trying to require me to like use the Federal Reserve System, saying that they won't transact with me unless I have Federal Reserve notes.
That fact is backed by what evidence that you have?
Well, I guess the evidence is in the email where they said that he had to pay cash. That's the only evidence I see.
Yeah, basically saying that there's no other way for them to do me. Yeah, they
But I
they
think
would require a social
in
security number.
the social security part, like in that class, the social security class, you don't have to have a social security, and you can't be denied because of a social security number.
Okay, I also have this here. There's some pictures I sent them. Hold on, let me see if I can share that with you to maybe try to further substantiate my claim. They're saying they were looking forward to helping me find my perfect armada. This is the email that they sent me. I have that in my other email. And that they would make the car buying journey transparent, easy, and enjoyable, which it hasn't been. Which I didn't necessarily put that in my claim, but that's kind of why I sent that to her. And then they were saying that they require social. But you know. Anybody, somebody
You
tell me.
all need to learn a little bit more about transactions, and the number one being offer and acceptance. You are making the offer. They're offering to treat. So they don't have an obligation to accept your offer. When they do have an obligation is when your offer has been accepted. So you have to figure out how to get them to accept your offer, and then you'll have ground to stand on.
Let me ask a question, Self. In lieu of when Malika asked her question, as far as the duty, and I was seeing that the closest thing could have been what I brought up as far as UD TPA and the FBPPA as far as pre-deprivation and post-deprivation. Was I getting our brother closer to what it is that he may want to do, as well as what you just said too? Do those things harmonize or no?
I think one of my questions is just as a newbie question, trying to still, learn as we go through this together, is because like mostly you can't be denied if you have the application. If that makes
Your
sense.
jurisprudence
Yes, you
is
can.
your jurisprudence is intact. I'm not knocking the water you guys are sharing. What
Okay.
I am asking is about your containment to present it. I think that's what is in question. And so, Self, would you like to reply?
Okay, my understanding is you can't be refused government services
Okay.
for refusing to provide a social. All right, so like I said the last time on this subject, the thing to do instead of presuming what's going on, ask questions. Why do you require me to have X, Y, and Z? Like, what's the purpose? What are you basing that on? Because then you can make a better informed decision on how to proceed after that. We're just presuming, all right?
Okay. Okay.
So until you know exactly what's going on, all you're doing is presuming or assuming because you have nothing to base it on. So a presumption is something that is surmised based on some type of fact. You assume when you have no facts at all. So just because they said something, but you don't know why they're saying it, like what's this based upon? How does this apply to me? All right, because remember, you're making the offer. And once you understand the transaction, then you'll know how to proceed. So the best thing, like me personally, I don't do nothing I can't enforce. I don't do nothing I can't defend. If I can't defend it, I can't enforce it. If I can't, I can only defend it if I understand it. So learn the transaction first to the jumping off into the deep end with no life raft, no what's that called when you the life vest, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So figure out like learn the transaction. Then you all like you'll be able to freestyle on what you can do and setups and all of that stuff. But you're making an offer, like that should be known, and they don't have to accept it. Look up offers to treat and offer and acceptance. And then you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I understand like the contract, aspect of it where you presented something and then both parties basically get something for something.
That's part of it. I'm saying as far as the dealership, somebody said earlier that because they're advertising something, they have to give it to you at the price. The advertising is an offer to treat. It's not an offer that you accept. You're the one going there. The buyer is the one who is agreeing to be bound by something is the one that's making an offer. I thought it was wild when I first learned about it because I'm like, wow, they're selling it. How come they're not the offer? But it's the other way around. It's reverse. The buyer is the offerer. See what I'm saying?
So would a pre-deprivation action
how's it pre-dep like based on what though? You
correct
don't
or
know.
no?
You don't know why. Like what are you being deprived of? You right? They're offering something that you have the option to buy or go somewhere else. Like there are many other vendors that'll sell. So that'll be the argument. Like why do you have to get it from us? You see what I'm saying? So the question is like that's why I would ask, what do you require me to have the social for? What government benefits are you providing me? Why do I have a motor vehicle license? The license is for exercising the privilege. Why do I have to be exercising the privilege to buy a car from you? Is that the only people that you serve? Those who are exercising privileges, right? You see what I'm saying? Because if
Yeah,
they're
because
not,
now
if
you
that's
have a
all they're,
standard to tack them on. Is that where you're going with it?
I'm sorry.
So what would compel the dealership to do business with you?
But that's my point, right? Why do they have to accept your offer? So if they said you have to have a driver's license to buy a motor vehicle, do they only sell to businesses or those that are engaged in exercising state privileges, right? Because if they do, then they definitely don't have a duty to sell anything to you. But if they sell to anyone, but they're making you or requiring, not making, but requiring you to have certain things, then now we're looking at discrimination. Now there's a claim. You're saying a valid injury, and then that's where the post or the pre deprivation or the post deprivation comes in, right? But you have to set that up first. You got to get it established. What exactly is going on? See what I'm saying?
Because it's not true that you need a license, because I've gotten 2 cars without a license.
I'm not saying it's true or false. What I'm saying is they told him what he must have to make the purchase. So I want to find out why that is. Right? Why did they make that particular requirement for me? Or is it something that's for everybody, for their business, or does it apply to others? But until I get that information, I'm just speculating as to why I can't get why they won't accept my offer.
And so basically, when they say that they're not going to talk to me about it anymore, then that's just the end of that. That's
why you talking to them. Who made the decision? Like somebody's the check writer, the check signer, the person that signs off or agrees or confirms, right? That's who you want to talk to, not an agent. You want to talk to the principal, the person who makes the decisions. Who is that? And then have that conversation with them. But you got to have your talking points ready so that when you have that conversation, they can't just write you off and say, you know what, we're done, and be dismissive. So you have to talk to the right party.
Okay. Right. If you're talking to the dealership, they have a whole bunch of people lined up
who's the dealership? You know, everybody needs to get out this habit of talking about fictions, right? Like they're persons. These are people doing business as, right? So talk to someone, talk to an individual. There's no such thing as talking to the dealership, talking to the government. It's talking to somebody.
Talking to somebody. They're making, they want to make a deal, but I mean, that's how I got my first car was, even though they advertise it for 40,000, I made the deal for 15,000.
You made an offer and they accepted the offer. That's my point.
They accepted the offer.
All the businesses are making offers, and the advertisements are offers to treat.
Right.
So when you go make your offer, well, in this, we're going to keep it to this particular issue right here, right? They said they won't accept his offer, or they said they won't accept your offer unless you provide X, Y, and Z. So you got to find out why they're requiring that, and is that all they sell to? And are they allowed to do that? Because if they're not, and they just singled you out, or if, like the sister said, you can buy a automobile without the driver's license, do they do the same thing? Do they sell without a driver's license? Because if they do, and they're not doing it, and they're making this requirement just for you, now you have a claim, discrimination, right? But the constitutional stuff, that's usually, the Constitution is for governments, not private businesses. Even though they may have charters, that's another argument, but let's keep it business, right? Business-wise, why are they singling me out, or why is this a requirement? And are there any other exceptions? If they do sell, maybe it's another dealership that sells without the requirement for a driver's license and social. And maybe this is what they're required to do in their business. That's how they set their stuff up. You see what I'm saying? If they do, and that's all they sell to, then maybe you have to go to another dealership.
And they might be limited by that in their charges.
We just don't know. So that's why I say ask questions.
Do you read it or ask questions? Yeah. So, but basically when I made them the deal, it was for cash. Rolled up. Otherwise, they'd be wanting to get their money. They'd be wanting to finance for 40, 50, 60,000.
We don't know what they want. Anything is negotiable.
They want their
anything
money.
is negotiable. So but that's what they're in business to do, to make money, right? They're gonna do it by finance, and they're gonna take cash. But anything's negotiable. The point is to find out all that you can as to what's going on, so you can make an informed decision as to which way you're gonna go, what you're gonna do, or what you're not gonna do.
Right. Like how much is their commission because they're selling on commission, and you're not seeing what they're making on that. You got to find that out because
I don't think the commission is relevant for this for what he's talking about, but that's all part of the deal. My
Yeah, you're
point
trying to get him to
is to
sell.
figure out why they want to accept his offer. That's I don't think a commission has to do with it.
What happens if he makes an offer and they're going to say they're going to give him a loan, yet they didn't give him any loan?
He has to get acceptance first, right?
Mhm.
Once you get the acceptance, how the payment will take place, that's secondary. But you have to at least get the acceptance first, because the acceptance that's what makes the contract binding. Before anything's changed, I don't know if anybody remembers the lawsuit with Kim Basinger and the director that she had a talk with at a party. Now, they had a talk. She agreed to do a movie, and she agreed to it. She accepted his offer to do a movie. He sued when she reneged and got 1.5. That was his award, 1.5, because it was deemed that the contract was entered into upon her acceptance. It's the same thing with any contract, any business, any transaction. It has to be an offer and an acceptance, right? So if you can figure out how to get them to do an acceptance, then how the payment is supposed to be made is secondary.
What is defined as a method of acceptance? How do you know that somebody's accepted something?
They're gonna say it. We accept it. We accept your offer. You ask them, do you accept my offer? Yeah, we accept your offer.
So
But they ain't gonna want to talk to you until they run
hold on.
that credit.
In the example that you just gave, like, so it would, like, I don't think he used the word offer when he offered her the movie role. So I'm saying, like, is it just like the terms? Like,
An
it's like,
agreement.
I want to
Hey,
offer
will
you
you do
role,
something?
like,
You ask a question, right? Will you do it? But this is part of what I'm saying about learning the transaction, right? I'm like me personally, I'm not going to say go do this and then do that, because you don't know the transaction. If you learn the transaction, then you'll see how you can do it, how you can set it up, and what would constitute, and in your jurisdiction, right? What is considered? Where are you? Were you in Georgia?
Yeah.
So in Georgia may have a way that it recognizes offers and acceptances. So find out how Georgia, how the courts in Georgia view offer and acceptance. When is it considered consummated? Right.
I got you. The reason why I asked is because if they were saying, I don't know. I guess, yeah. That's what I just trying to figure out. What would constitute an acceptance of an offer and how an offer is presented. But I'll look into that.
Yeah.
But
So
this
look
is the controller
into
of the
Georgia's.
dealership.
What's
She's
that?
she's the registered agent of this dealership, which is over 3 smaller dealerships, which are all Nissan. So she's the one that I was talking to. Initially, I was just talking to a rep, and the rep said I had to take it up with the attorneys. And then you told me I should get some answers, and then I tried to get some answers. When I asked her what laws were governed, she didn't answer me. She didn't give an answer.
You say you talked to the registered agent.
This is the registered agent of this corporation right here under
You know
the
what a
Georgia
registered
Secretary
agent
of
is?
State. Say again?
Do you know what a registered agent is?
Do I know what a registered agent is?
Yes.
Somebody who is like filing the information for the corporation in the Georgia Secretary of State's website.
Registered agents accept process for the businesses. There's somebody that you can contact that's registered to accept all service of process for that company. So she wouldn't be the person to talk to.
That'd be an attorney.
It would be the executives of the corporation or the board of directors. Somebody on the board.
Okay.
And then they will maybe refer you to an attorney, but an attorney is not who makes decisions. It's the executives or if they have an internal attorney and that's his responsibility, then yeah, you would talk to that person. But the executives, see, again, learn business, right? Who makes the determinations in these companies? See what I'm saying? Who owns the
They
companies?
said when I called the Nissan, they said this is the person that you're trying, because I tried to get the contact for the attorney when they told me that I need to deal with the attorney. When I called Nissan, they said this is the person who is in charge. She makes the last call. This is who you want to talk to. So that's who I was talking to. And so when I looked up who the registered agent was, it also happened to be that this was her. And on the website, she's the controller. They do have a CEO, a corporate assistant, HR, and a USAIL manager. That's all they have listed on this website.
Right. So you talk to an executive of that company of Nissan.
I don't know. Well, I can't say that. She's the controller. That's what it says. That's her title.
Can you know what a controller is?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like you got to find that out because the controller is the accountant.
So I'm thinking too. Then, what about him being on the website, making because that's what it sounded like. You was on the website, you designed what kind of wheel you wanted, or whatever.
And they said it was
that he's making an offer right there. Like I want to, and then in making the offer, he's saying what he wants.
So when they go, come and pick it up. It's here at the dealership. What's with that when they say come and pick it up?
That I don't know. I don't know how Georgia does it. Right? It could be an offer, it may not be an offer. I don't know. But my point is to look it up. I know what offer and acceptance is.
I was asking if I was asking, could that possibly be an acceptance?
I don't think so.
Gotcha.
Is that a reason to tort over?
Not to me, right? And I could be wrong. I'm open for correction, but not to me. And again, I think the strongest point, since they said in order for us to sell you a vehicle, you have to have sell you a motor vehicle, you have to have a social security number and a driver's license. So me personally, I think the strong move is to get from them why that's required, and is that the only type of person that they make sales to for those that only have driver's license and social security numbers? Because if they do, then the question is, do they know what that means? You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, they're not going to say.
I got to know why before I.
Yeah, they're not going to say.
Forward.
Well, here it is for other good and valuable consideration.
I don't know what they're going to say, but I know I'm going to ask questions. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like that, no one can know what anybody else is going to do. Anything other than that is speculation, and speculation has no place in business and doing law. If y'all learning law, like that's the number one thing. No speculation. So nothing's wrong with a question. So figure it out, because that may get you where you need to go.
Okay, so do you think this
when
question?
You set up your LLC, that they say you should choose an attorney, but they're not saying you should not. They're saying you don't have to, but you should. That's what they're saying for that registered agent. But whether they did or not, I don't know.
Do you think that this question, if they had answered it, would get to the point of what you were saying?
If they answer the question about the driver's license and social?
No. I'm saying this question right says, I see there's still a misunderstanding. Please, can you tell me under what laws Nissan Marietta LLC is subject to in its operations? So, and they didn't answer that question outright. They just kind of tiptoed around it, said some other stuff. And I asked the same question and asked why they were not classified as a new car dealer under NAICS, and they didn't answer either. But I'm asking, is this question not specific enough? Do you think this question is not specific enough compared to what you're asking, saying specifically, why do you need this stuff? Even though I'm telling you, I'm not trying to do that stuff. But I mean, it's kind of understood if it's public knowledge that all this stuff is there, or it's presumed, so to speak, like that's how things operate. Then if you're asking me for a driver's license and social security number, it has to be for that reason. So
I don't know. I just think that's kind of broad, and it's too open ended to it's specific, but it's just too broad. And like, for what purpose?
I was going to say it's no basis for it. So when you go into I think the basis, if I can give maybe some context, is that when you asking questions too, you have to understand just because you're asking a question doesn't mean that they have to give you an answer. So when it comes to like certain internal policies and things like that, you can ask the question, they don't have to answer it because it doesn't really have anything to do with the transaction itself. So I think if the basis is they're saying that they are requiring an ID or social security number, all those things, then the question would be based on what law. And you can ask them that or do your due diligence and then understand that they can't ask you for that and then go at them that way. But it's like you have to kind of already have a basis for what it is you're trying to do. So if your presumption is that they can't ask you for a driver's license, they can't ask you for a social security number, then what is your basis of that? Because then that's what I feel like you should be going in there and saying, well, pursuant to this, I don't have to give you this. But then they're also business, so they also don't have to accept it. So you have to find a happy medium of where what you saying matches what they're saying. So if they are in business, is there any law, especially in law, is there any law that prohibits them from asking you that? And I think that those are the questions that kind of need to be answered before you can even attempt that.
Okay, hold on.
I think when they
There you
said
go.
be honest,
Okay,
the
so this question
consumer.
I think is like very commensurate to what you asked. Like, okay, please provide clarification as to what Eric meant by his statements about requiring me to have a SSN and a driver's license, or if perhaps he made a mistake so that I can rectify the situation. And then she responded and saying, in order to answer your question properly, I need more information regarding the situation. Were you planning to finance the Armada or pay cash? I don't
Because
even.
basically because what their presumption is in order to do, and this is just what being in the space of what I would gather her presumption is that's the way that they do business. They don't do any deals without asking or without requesting a social security number. The only time, most of the time, you can go into a dealership on the surface, right? Traditionally, is if you provide a social security number. So maybe if you paying cash and it's under a certain amount, they won't require you to give a social security number. So it feels like that is the route that she was trying to take you through. Like, okay, well, you're not trying to finance. So she's trying to get clarification, like, okay,
Yeah.
well, you must be paying cash because that's the only reason why. But your question, although you're specific in why you're asking, somebody on the other end that doesn't have any idea on where you're trying to go with this is not going to be clear. And if they are, they're not going to give you clear answers. Like all of these things are hidden
Okay,
for
so
our
I
own
Yeah, you're
demise.
right.
So
okay.
nobody's just gonna come straight out, even if they know. You think they're gonna answer that? They're not gonna answer that.
No, no,
Go back to that. Go back to what you had with with what she said, the response.
the
Mhm.
response that she just had. Okay.
Okay, so right there, right? She said if you were financing, then yes, we would require social security. Now,
Mhm.
now you got to remember
Right.
too, they have laws that they have to follow, right? Banking laws or who they're dealing with. So that's another
Right.
thing that you will have to contend with, right? Why they're doing it. So now, if you can get financing without a social and is not required, and you
But
can show that, then that will be the basis that of your response. But my point is to ask the questions so you will know what you need to do and then have your things set up too for the responses, right? But that's going to be an issue. That's going to be a problem.
I got you. So what I was thinking, right? So even if, right, the whatever cash is, I could only assume, right? If they're assuming, then I also assume too. I reserve the right to assume that they're asking in Federal Reserve notes because they're also equating it to the Social Security number. But when you pay in cash, of course, any transaction over 10 grand would also require the use
Mhm.
of a Social Security number. So they're still going back to the social. And I didn't go straight to the dealership. I built it on the website and they said they thanked me for building my Armada. They said it was mine. And then all this other jibber jabber that they talked about. And then they said they were trying to make it transparent. If I'm asking you clearly what laws are you governed by, and you don't tell me clearly, I don't think that's being transparent. So this is kind of what I'm
Okay,
saying.
let me say this. All right. So
Mhm.
it depends on the context that you're talking about that would govern what law would govern what you're talking about. That's why I say it's overly broad, right? Okay. If I'm storing my cars it might be governed by one law. If I'm doing secure transactions, it's going to be governed by another law. If I'm selling this to this person over here for this amount, like the $10,000 over, it's going to be governed by X amount of law, right? So to say that is just too broad. And no, you're the one making the offer. So you would be better not to presume anything and be more informed and ready for what you're trying to do. They don't have to entertain you. They don't have to accept your offer. So it's better for you to know what you're doing and what you're talking about than it is more for them. All they need to know is, how do we move cars? How do we do that?
Yeah.
That's
I
all they're
didn't give them
concerned
social
with.
security number for the 15,000. I got my bill of lading because all they're going to give you after all said and done, everything when they approve your transaction and everything, well, all they're going to do is they're going to give you a title that says assignment on it. And that's the only way that they can give you a title to it is by assignment. It doesn't say money or this or that. It could be anything. But the only way you're going to get the title is by assignment.
I don't need the title. The title is for registration. As far as I know, I just want the property.
The title, what happens is when you go finance it, is they take the title, they give it to the DMV, which they take a photo of it, and
Okay,
then they
man. Like you
But
get
register
I'm
too
it.
not
much
trying
in
to
the
do
details,
nothing with the
Stephen. Like we just
DMV.
talking about the transaction. Now,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm saying like even in my debt. Okay, so according if they're
hold up, bro. Hold up,
Mhm.
because you saying more and more. And I'm telling you, like you really need to learn what's going on. So when you say you don't need the title, you just need a vehicle. Title is ownership, bro. You ever heard possession is 9/10 of the law? The other
Mhm.
10th is title, ownership.
That's it.
See what I'm saying? So
And
yeah, you're gonna need the title because if that's your property, like you're claiming, you're
right,
gonna have to have evidence of ownership.
right.
So that's all I'm saying. Like, just you got to figure out, like, you got to learn the transaction and
And
who
they
you're
will
dealing with
not
and
give
what you're
So
you
doing.
my
If you're
title's
trying to
gonna
do
be
what you're doing,
registered with the DMV. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not
no,
saying that.
Okay,
I'm not
okay,
no,
saying that.
okay.
What I'm
All right.
saying
no.
is,
If
All right.
if
That's
you go
that's
to the
that's kind of where I
DMV,
was speaking from. That's why when I heard him say DMV, that's why I was saying like title as far
right,
as
and that's another point, right? So he spoke of DMV. So he's talking to DMV because of the transaction. If people financing, the user transaction is that they are required to register the title with the DMV because they have insurance that requires them to do X, Y, and Z, or who they're selling. They'll have a bank or a finance company that they work with, right? And the bank or the finance company requires these things, so they'll put the imposition of those requirements on the dealership. So there's
exactly.
a bunch of connected cooperations or cooperatives that are going on besides you and the dealership,
Yeah, they're not going
and
to
how
let
you
you.
decide. Hold up, see, and how you're acquiring the property. That's going to determine what goes on or who does what and what the requirements are.
No one comes here for Steve.
yeah. Then
Right, and you basically, I mean, when you go, if you go to a DMV and you ask for plates, they're going to say, give me the
Bro,
title.
you way off the mark, Steve. We're not talking about that. All right. He's talking about
Right,
the transaction and how he can get his property.
Steve, you're
right. But he wants to get it in his hand. He
Yeah, but
wants it
that
in
has
his
nothing to
hand.
do with it yet. We talking about how does he get it? That's the only concern right now. Like you way down the road.
He's got to make some offer
dude,
though.
Steve, just stop. Nobody's asking for you.
So I think I've said all I could probably say, brother. But that's what you have to do, man. Like you got to see what the transaction, who does what, and then you'll know how to communicate what you're trying to do. But the first thing I would do, me personally, what you're doing, I need to see why they're asking for what they're asking, and from there, like, what do I need to do from there, right? If it's for DMV purposes, okay, now you need to know DMV requirements. I'm not exercising a state privilege, so this doesn't apply to me. Now, since it doesn't apply to me, can we still work out a deal, right? And then you got to show it. It doesn't apply to me because this, that, and the other. Here's the law on this. I'm not exercising state privilege. Do you have some type of program other than for those who are? You see what I'm saying? So, but the first thing is to figure out or to get confirmation as to why they're requesting these particular things. But again, if it's financing, usually a financial company or institution is involved and they have banking laws that they got to follow. And that's required of them.
So that means you will have to be talking to the finance company if that's what you're trying to do. If you're trying to get around financing, now you got to figure out how to do that. But you can't do it until they tell you concretely why they need what they need. Then you can do a rebuttal if you need to, or make other arrangements. So the whole point of my statements is to figure out factually what's going on and why they're doing it, and then you'll know what you need to say or figure out from that point. Okay, I yield.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely I'm gonna take some time to check these two sections out, the FDPA and the UTPA, and what you had said earlier about the offer to treat. That's what it was.
Offers acceptance and offers of treat.
Okay.
And let me hit this money part, right? So you're talking about the Federal Reserve notes and all that. You're gonna definitely have to recharacterize how you communicate that, because gracias. Yeah, because when you talk about certain topics and conversations, you're gonna cause ears to shut off, and then people gonna shut down, and they don't have to deal with you, right? So you got to be clever in your communication. So learn that too. That's all I'm saying, bro. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's not as simple as it appears you believe it is.
Well, I'm definitely fucking around and finding out. So.
Well, do that shit right, bro.
Yeah, facts. I'm not gonna lie. I got locked up for a year and 20 days, and I'm like, I have that side pretty down. So like, I feel like the worst that could have happened already did happen, aside from maybe something else crazy. But I believe in the creator, and I'm ready to figure out where I need to go to get
That's
to where
right.
I need to be.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yep. Be wise as a
I appreciate
serpent,
you all.
but soft as a dove. Yeah.
Alrighty, I think I am next.
There were some other people who had their hand up. I'm sorry for everybody for taking up all the time. Did not mean to do that.
I am was the only one that I think that had their hand up.
Greetings. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. What I noticed on the last one, and I'm going to instruct somebody to do this, because they sent me information regarding their a suit, and the suit was pertaining to mortgage and an auction. The property was auctioned off. And so one of the things I noticed in the last one, which I thought was is reading the purpose and the construction of the statutes. And what I remember reading from the UCC code is the scope of things, and I've been reading the scope of whatever those things are. Now, one of the things I suggested to the woman was that, and she believes in hiring an attorney. It ain't my business, but that's her thing, okay? And the other thing she told me is, like, she doesn't really like to do a lot of the work herself. So the thing is, I asked her to do was that she is going to have to understand the requirements of who is required to obtain or hold a mortgage. Now, that's one of the questions that I'm posing to her. Now, she was at one time part of the community. And I don't know for what reason we lost contact, but she did send me some new information. And then I was reading the court case. It was basically on, like, I did this, I spent this money. It was like stuff that was not irrelevant to pertaining to why the situation took place. So I did make some suggestions to go back and take the courses required. In the meantime, I thought if for myself would be to give her some suggestions as where to start. And if you feel that was the right thing to do. I mean, in my heart, I know that's the right thing to do, but I know some people just want to hear what they want to hear because they want to get stuff quick and fast. And I'm all about learning so I can do for myself as well as help someone else. But that's the requirement I suggested to her. So based on the codes that we know, that under Title VII U.S. Code, I think it's 1922, loans can only be issued to farmers and ranchers. And I believe that was the situation with her home, but I don't know all of it because I haven't spoke to her in 3 years and she just reached out to me this time. So do you think that would be the respective thing to do outside what I mentioned, or do you have any suggestions outside of that?
I'm not even sure if I comprehend what the whole issue is.
Well, the issue is she's going through a case. She decided to go and hire an attorney. She had some knowledge about what to do, but her thing is, her faith is, she believes that these attorney can assist her.
Oh, I mean,
So
then she can
based on
let him
our
assist her.
studies, right, but based on our in our studies, she has the wherewithal of some things. The issue is, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory way because this is what she told me. She said she doesn't like reading and she doesn't like putting in the work, but she will pay someone to do the work for her. So the point is, if mortgages are only for or can be acquired through a particular purpose, and those suggestions were already made, would you say that the first thing she would have to do is to literally start by doing what is called a verified complaint, meaning look at the history of what took place, putting it together, and then creating questions to assist her to move forward.
It
That's
doesn't
what
matter if
I'm
she has an attorney. If she has an attorney, it doesn't matter.
That's what I was just about to say. I mean, I just ain't want to cut you off and everything you were saying. I was saying it's like it's already decided. If she decided that she would like to retain someone else to do the work for her, then my suggestion is to let whoever she retained do the work.
Well, the
Yeah,
thing is,
exactly.
yeah, not to cut you off, brother, but the thing is, the way she responded, she sent me an email and she's not happy with the results that she has. So I think she's looking to gather information to better help herself, so help the attorney to assist her. So that's why I was asking,
Is
because
it
You
an
need
act
it.
of foreclosure?
I'm not sure because I haven't spoken to her in 3 years. Earlier, before I knew the situation, because I did stay with her, and this is a New York case that she's under. So I would have to go and look at some of the rules and regulation based on New York, and then I can send her the information that I gather, and then let her go from there, and then inquire with me how best to go through the information. I that's the only thing I can do. Apparently she seems unhappy with the outcome and she's reaching out to me to find out because she know I've been doing some studies and she's just trying to find out how best she can rectify her situation. That's all.
So you're going to render her assistance of counsel and not as an attorney, because you're saying that she didn't want to do the reading or the understanding. She wanted to hire someone for that, and that to me is an attorney.
Right, but I'm not going to do the counsel. I'm just going to send the information and let her go
Right,
through it, but I'm going to send it in a simplistic form that I know how she understands it. That's all I'm saying.
right. Okay.
So Hassan, are you saying not to assist? Are you saying not to assist
I
or
know. I
just
mean,
leave
I
it
wouldn't.
alone?
I don't assist
Okay.
people that got attorneys because It's a waste of time. Do
I'm
you
not
want to?
saying don't assist. That's up to you. But what I'm saying is the I'll say experience has shown one, if that person doesn't want to read or do any work, it's not going to help them. Papers and words on paper are not what get it done. It's not a bulletproof solution. It's not a silver bullet. And if she has an attorney, the attorney usually signs as an independent contractor, and they're free to do what they want to do, even if she knows them, even if they're friends or whatever. They're still going to handle it the way they choose to handle it, no matter what that person gives them, because they're going to go off of their training and what they think is best. And if she hires them as a representative, that's what she hired them for. And it's their job to do that. So you can do it, but she's already stated her position and what she thinks about it. And nothing you're going to do or
Well,
send.
I'm gonna suggest the classes, the ones that Malika just offered just recently, and I'll let her go from there. And
That's
you
the
know, if
best
she
thing
has
you
any
could do.
questions, she can inquire. Yeah, that's
That's
what
the
I
best you can
figured.
do.
Thank you.
All righty. Any other questions here, y'all? Questions, comments, and or suggestions?
I have a question.
Yep. And try my best to assist. Go
Okay.
ahead, listening.
This is going back to what we were talking about earlier, the traffic tickets. So I had I was traveling in my, car one day and the sheriff got behind me, not behind me just because, but we was traveling. It was traffic. So, everybody's moving in and out of lanes and he just so happened to get behind me, but he wasn't in enough distance because they start running your plate automatically, that cameras in the front of their vehicles. So once he did get enough distance, the vehicle ran the plate and he turned his lights on. I pulled over. He approached the vehicle. He asked me about, no, he said the reason he pulled me over was because he noticed that I didn't have a registration or insurance. And I let him know that, yeah, I don't, you know, have insurance. Right now I'm getting private insurance and that I don't register the vehicle anymore because the vehicle's getting ready to be put in trust. And then he asked me for my driver's license. I said, I don't carry a license. I haven't had a license in over 15 years. I use my passport. And then he was like, oh, okay. He's just like, well, can I see it? I said, oh, sure. So I showed it to him. He said, I'll be back. Well, he took about 10 minutes. He came back and gave me 3 citations on one long form, how they do it here. I'm in the state of Texas. And he said, I'm giving you 3 citations, one for driving without a license, one for no registration, and one for no insurance. He said, he said, you don't have to come to court, just respond to the court within 30 days. So I got the ticket, I put under duress, gave it back to him, and then that was it. So within 30 days, I responded and I sent a letter of non-consent, a letter of my legal standing of my status, and a notice to discharge. So I sent that within 30 days. And this was like June 2025. And it just now recently in October, they sent 3 letters in one envelope to say, come to a pretrial for those 3 tickets. And
So, of
so
the things you sent them so far, what classes of lawful living you learned to do that from?
I didn't learn that from lawful living. Watch out. I, just my, me having a little bit of understanding of who I am. And I just kind of responded based on how I saw fit to respond. And the notices that I sent to them, like I said, was a notice of non-consent. I just laid out the facts, the conclusions of law of what took place that day. That I didn't get them authorization to unlawful search and seizure by running the plate in their database inquiry, and that I've never had a driver's license here. I'm not partaking in any type of commercial activity. Just went through all that, everything that we all been stating here. and I asked him to respond. And, I signed it in a way, and I just never heard back from him until now. So now I didn't go to court. I did look at a document from Lawful Living for what to give in a situation for court, being compelled to appear, but it was for Georgia, and I was trying to, find the statutes and, civil procedures here for Texas, to, um, replace it with. I just couldn't get it all together in a timely manner. So of course, court was yesterday. I didn't show up. So now I'm trying to figure out what's my best course, because it says at the bottom of the letter, if you don't come, it's a possibility of a warrant.
Yeah.
You
Can I
have a
jump
chance
in
to
and
watch
just
a
tell you a
traffic class?
personal experience that would maybe help you here? I've had a similar situation that is currently still going, but for 3 months now, they just continually just keep rescheduling it, and it says failure to appear on the docket, and then they send me some, you know, thing from the clerk that says, that you need to appear at this date. And then at the bottom it says, if you don't appear, you may be arrested.
Right.
And so anyhow, I just, ignore it because it doesn't apply to me. So
Yeah.
and I've already given my notice. I did it one time. They don't need any more notice. They're very well aware of, of my standpoint. So it's like, hang on a second. So anyhow, the point is they're going to play that game with you. And so you just have to show them that what you sent them actually, it's true. And that, they realize that it doesn't apply to you. And because and I also felt that, or kind of came to the realization that if I'm worried about it, then it's obviously something that I need to be worried about. But if I just quit worrying about it, then and that's really been the best advice that, Malika said it in different words, but I just quit caring about it because I already did my part.
Right.
And
That's how I
so
was feeling it, because
and so
I've gotten pulled over
yeah,
before, and they did
they're
nothing of what the
trying to
sheriff
trip
did.
you up.
Yeah.
They're trying to trip you up and make you think that, oh, maybe your paper didn't actually do what you think it does. But it does if you stand on it. And that's I just wanted to share that because it's personal experience that is proven to me that, it does work. It's just don't you can't get tripped up and end up making it apply to you by,
By
because a lot of
responding.
people,
I was thinking
yeah,
the
by
same thing. I'm like,
continuing
okay,
to
I
file.
sent them what I sent. And if I, start, oh, let me reschedule it, or, let me respond, and they're saying, okay, I'm, giving them authority. So I'm like, but at the
Right,
same
yeah.
time, I don't want to be in a car with my daughter and here you guys come. Because what I do now, me personally, I avoid them at all costs. If I see them coming, I'm turning the corner. If anything, just to not have them come behind my plate until I can get everything situated. That's how I've been
And,
operating. But,
and I guess my main point is just to sum it up is that once you do your notice and then that's all you need to do. But if you want to send them another one and all that, then it's, it's not the same. I mean, because now you're participating and you're sitting here, giving the appearance that you are wanting to argue, and that's not really what you want to do. You just want to notify them of where they're at and that the record fails to reflect that you can even be involved in a case, that you can even be a defendant. And so make it clear that you're not going to be involved in it unless they can, show a good valid reason of why. And if they put a warrant out, then, fuck them. You can deal with that later.
Should have just made a motion to dismiss, no complaint,
Yeah,
and
I didn't do any
basically,
motions, just notice.
yeah, just well, all right, well, notice to dismiss, no complaint, failure to state a claim.
And
You
try not
can
to let fear
also
control you.
you can also do. I actually was arrested before, um, early on doing some of the same things, and yeah, you can deal with the warrant, but realistically, nobody wants to go to jail. And so for me, the easiest way that I have found, and I haven't had tags in the driver's license, I think it's probably about 6 years now. And the two interactions that I had,
that didn't end up with me going to jail is two things. You can either, it's always the presumption, right? You always gotta rebut the presumption. That's just the thing. Um, and so what I found to be successful is either one going and showing up and talking directly to the state's attorney, and then rebutting the presumption like, hey, basically, you don't have to prove who you are. They just have to prove that they have the authority to do what they think that they can do. So it's
Yes.
like, okay, what jurisdiction do you think I am? What law gives you the right to charge me? They have the burden of the proof. The burden of proof is not on you. And so I went and I talked to the state's attorney, and I'm like, listen, what law requires you to do this? How are you going to establish that I'm a citizen of this? And just had a conversation, and at that point, it was just dismissed. You can also mail it in. I just think that because the system is the system, right? And it's always looking for a way. And for me, it's the easiest way to keep you from getting in trouble. Like you said, you traveling with your child. Nobody wants to be arrested. So sometimes, even though no, you don't know that they don't have a right, and no, you shouldn't have to. Sometimes it's just better to just present sometimes and stand your ground, and then to just have to do it. Because here's the thing, I just had somebody who did the exact same thing, and guess what they did? He was determined he wasn't going to go in, and they locked him up, and he was locked up for 63 days, and they did not release him. And so he still had to go in front of the court and go through all of that anyway. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes it's not worth the headache for me. Like, just talk to the state's attorney and just rebut the
So
presumption.
pretty much contact the state's attorney and just have a conversation to let him know this is who I am. This is what I'm.
You don't even have
What
to
I,
let him know. I wouldn't even recommend, again, you going on the defense about something you have to go on the defense for it. They issued me, the police issued me this citation. First of all, who gives the authority for the police to issue the citation? He issued me a citation. He had no authority. The presumption is I'm a part of this jurisdiction. You have the burden of proof. There's no way you can prove this, because what are they going to prove it with?
right. So
Like,
what I'm
when you really
asking
think
is,
about
are
it.
you saying to contact the state's attorney? Is that and go back and state exactly what I've already gave him an affidavit of non-consent. I've already given him my affidavit of legal standing. I've already given him a notice to discharge because it's all about money. They're suing you. So you're saying go back and repeat what I stated to them in the notices, in the affidavits, contact the state's attorney to say exactly that again
I'm not saying, I don't know
as a
what you're saying.
suggestion.
I'm not saying that's what you should say. What I'm saying is that there is a presumption. And even though, again, we all say it's about discharge and it's about this and about that, but those are not things that everybody is in agreement of facts. So I'm not telling you what you should say. What I'm suggesting is you don't have to go back and reprove anything. You can even do a motion to dismiss because they have not provide they have the burden of proof. Where's the burden of proof that they can give you a citation? Where's the burden of proof that you have to have these things? Those things, where are those things at? So I'm not saying you need to go back and re-say anything. It's just more of you haven't proved your claim, because you went straight on the defense about what you're doing, what you're not doing. But then really all that leaves is leave facts up for debate again. Because now what you saying and what they saying is two different things, versus if you shift the burden to where it belong on them, you don't have to say anything.
Thank you, man. Like, I don't
You
know
don't
why
have to
everybody
say
want to
anything.
their burden. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, like
So
sometimes we be doing too. Sometimes in this, like we just go in the defense. Oh, I'm not this, and I don't consent, and I don't like all of that. Ain't even necessary, because
Yeah.
before we even get to all of that, you got the burden of proof. So I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to do anything. Now we can have a conversation. We're adults. So listen, just like if you having a conversation, you're somewhere outside, and somebody have a presumption, you don't just go off the deep end like that. It's just like, hey, I understand that this is usually what happens. However, this isn't the situation here. This is not that. I do understand that in certain situations, police can issue, but oh, so you think that I'm this? Okay, no, I understand why you think that, but no, this is not that. But you got
So
to give
again, I
them
guess
a chance to do their burden of proof first.
right. So I guess I'm still in because I feel like that's what I did in the beginning.
But the key is
no,
to,
when you
to
when
let
you
them know that it's not at that time. Don't try saying that they don't have the right to do all this stuff. Again, we
I
got
didn't
to
say
not
any of
make
that.
claims.
I didn't say any of that in my letter. I said I'm not a licensee, a carrier, or operator for hire, and I have never applied for or received a Texas driver's license. I
You
rebutted
made
him
it.
See
because
the
You
I'm
did.
difference in that. But listen to what you're saying versus what I'm trying to say. They have the burden of the proof. You went in and you start defending. So the moment that you start defending,
wait. When you say I went in, what do you mean I went in? Are you
like
saying it
when
because of
you
the notices?
The
responded,
communications.
Okay.
You
The
responded.
Okay.
communications.
Well, because he said I have to respond within 30 days to the
right.
citation.
But
So
but
listen,
a
so
response
you
is not always an affirmative statement. A response
yes.
can be a question, right? Like what she's saying.
So maybe what you're
What
saying is
duty?
doing interrogatories, then ask them questions.
No. So all right, let me try to clarify what I'm saying and put it in context. The foundation is for whatever reason, and I don't really get into the citizen thing and all of that, but let's just say that the state, whatever state you're in, you said you're in Texas, they believe that they are whatever the municipality is and that you're a citizen of that state, and that because you are a citizen of that state and you're in a commercial state, that you are a person that is required to have a driver's license. They believe that you are a person that is required to have insurance. They believe that you are the person who needs to have your vehicle registered. In some cases, that may be true. So when they bring a claim against you, they have to prove that you are the person that they are saying that you are. You don't have to prove you're not who they say that they are. They have to prove this person is bound by this law because such and such. This person is bound by that. They never will do that because they know that they can't do that. So it's how you set them up. But what you did was you responded, but your response was a defense that now opened them up to now have to have a conversation with you versus the burden of proof. Like, listen, you issued this citation, but nowhere on the citation does it say that I'm a person that's governed by this. You issued discharging document in this thing, but nowhere on the record does it reflect or establish that I'm a citizen of this or that you have the authority to be able to do this. You need to
Oh,
prove your claim. Prove
right.
your claim first.
But I did send them my lawful standing of that I'm not a that.
Listen,
So
listen, we heard that, right? What we're saying is when you make okay, I'll put it like this. Anytime you make a declarative statement, such as I am this, I am that, I am not, you are creating a dispute. You're creating a dispute when there doesn't need to be one because they have the burden of proving all the claims that they made against you. So the response is the notice regarding what's going on, right? Do you have a duty to respond? Do you have a duty to do anything? And do they have the right to do what they did? But the burden is on them to prove everything, not you. You don't have to say anything. All you have to figure out, okay, what evidence do you have to establish that I am X, Y, and Z and everything that's on this citation, and that there was a right to stop me at the time that I was stopped. That's it. When you start making claims, now you have the burden of proving those claims. And you just took the rocks out of their wheelbarrow and put them into yours.
And I think that's the biggest thing that the biggest part that I think that the miscommunication and the jurisdiction thing and all of those things happen because I don't think people realize that the more that you do that, you actually are opening up the conversation versus if you don't prove who if you don't prove that you had the authority to do these things to me, then this matter has to be dismissed and I never have to talk to you about who I am. Because before we discuss who I am, let's discuss who you think I am that you can do this. And then that conversation is different. So like when I went in to the state's attorney, when I went in, because I don't have a problem with going into court. It's not a big deal to me. Um, and so I showed up, and when you go in, you always can talk to them. And I, basically said, hey, I got these citations, I got this, but however, you haven't proved that I'm in your jurisdiction. You haven't proved that you have the authority, because again, we all talk about jurisdiction, but they have to prove jurisdiction. And just because you are in a state doesn't mean that they control you because you're in jurisdiction. And even though even people will say with a license, actually having a license, it kind of doesn't really put you in jurisdiction. You don't know that did they do their due diligence, say, oh, you got minimum contacts with the state. Like they don't do those things because those things are not real in real time. And so when I asked her, I was like, "Well, do you have any proof that I like have any minimum contacts?" I was like, "Because the record doesn't show that." And she's like, "Well, no." Okay, well, do you have anything to say that I'm in your jurisdiction? She never mentioned, well, your address is so and so. It was like, no. And she was like, well, I was like, well, what do you plan on doing? Because you have the burden of proof. Now, am I going to say it went that smooth? No. When we went up to the podium and she said, well, we'll call the case. And when we call a case, and then they start reading it off, and then I objected because then the judge started talking, and they thought that they were going to continue, and I was like, hey, before we get here, and before you start asking me questions, this record doesn't reflect any jurisdiction. The state has not proven their burden of proof, and guess what? They postponed it one time, and then the next time it was the letter came out and it was dismissed.
That
And
is
then did they
key.
do it in open court? No, absolutely not. They're not going to do it in open court.
So is a notice or motion to dismiss the same thing as defending?
I mean, I've done it both ways. No, I've done a motion to dismiss because I mean, sometimes you just even if I don't mind going in, if I can avoid it at all costs, I'm going to avoid it at all costs. But for me, it's like, yeah, I done hit my date with going to jail. It's not something I, rather do. So you can do. I've done it with a motion to dismiss because the record doesn't reflect it and there's no burden of proof. But sometimes those things happen so fast with the court dates and all of that that they don't respond. So even though you might have a motion to dismiss, sometimes they won't hear the motion to dismiss until the actual hearing date. And so sometimes, depending on how far the case is out, they'll make a decision. I've done it where I've emailed the state's attorney. And it was fine. So it just really all just depends. But I think that sometimes not sometimes, most of the times, the way that these things are handled are just so arrogant sometimes and so unnecessary that it just makes it unnecessary. All you got to do is stick to the facts. Like, listen, you got the burden of proof. The burden of proof is always, especially in those instances when they're pulling people over, you got the burden of proof is always on them. Who told you you had the authority to pull me over? Why are you pulling me over? Who said I had to have these things? We have to have that conversation before I start saying I'm a lawful this and I'm that. So when I never even got into the citizenship shit because it didn't even matter. Which I don't have any citizen stuff anyway, but it didn't even matter because at the end of the day, the burden of proof was on them, and they didn't have no burden of proof.
Always,
The
always,
burden of proof is on
always,
them.
always.
So I never had to get into, oh, she's a sovereign citizen, or you think you're lawless. I didn't even get into all that. I just stuck to the facts of their own rules. Hey, your rules say you got the burden of proof. My guy, prove it before we even move on. So before you start asking me questions, no, I'm not here to answer any questions. I'm actually here because the state has improved their burden. And then the judge kept talking, and I'm like, well, is the state gonna answer? And the state couldn't answer. And then what they did, actually, I'm sorry, what they did was they said that they were going to recall the case. And so they asked me to sit back out. They called a few more cases. They waited until the end and then called it back up. And it was maybe like two people left. And then they were like, they were going to set the matter. And in my head, I didn't argue because I already knew what was going to happen. I didn't go through, no, we need to do this or that. I was like, oh, okay, no problem. And then that's, I got a nollie process. It was dismissed.
So what if they would have put a warrant out on you?
Well, they wouldn't have put out one. That's why I went. I wasn't gonna get a one. Like, I've been there and done that. Like, and yeah, you can walk through, but for me, like, that's just a nuisance.
Do you think your experience went like that and you knew that there wasn't going to be a warrant and there are no horror stories in your brain because you comprehend procedure? Is
No,
that what it was? Was it
no, because
procedure
I've
you
had times where
comprehended?
I've been on the side of the road and I've been locked up. Because the thing is,
I'm talking about in this particular
in
case,
this particular case,
specifically that you described, was it based on you comprehending procedure?
I believe
Yes or
so.
no?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
Gratitude.
Excuse me.
Gratitude.
I just hopped back in the room, and Hassan, I wanted to thank you, bro, because I was just going through this little section, and I found a bar, and I just had to hop back in the room. And thank you for that, bro.
That's okay. I know, bro. Thank you so much.
I
Because
walked in. I said, "Yo, I gotta come back and say,
I'm
yo, he just."
rarely listened to, but I got to be the bad guy
So
in lawful living.
I had to come back and tell
It's
you.
all good
I was
though.
like, "Yo, that's great. I appreciate you though, for real, for real, for real."
You're welcome.
All
Anybody
right, I'm gonna
else?
see
Question,
y'all
comments, and yeah, you're welcome, bro.
next week with the whip.
I know we had some overtime here, but I think Malika's been allowing it because it's a great conversation.
How do you get rid of a warrant?
What state are you near?
Texas.
Okay. How often are you visiting Texas Law Library to ask to inquire about that topic with the law librarians? Okay, you asked a question about warrants. You answered the question about the state. Now I'm hearing crickets. Interesting.
Never.
Okay, next. Anybody else has a question or comment then that they're going to continue the conversation with me or no?
I have a question.
All righty, I'm listening to you.
So I don't I'm nervous. I'm sorry. I don't want to get into the topic of the things that we've been taught. Well, I'll just say hi to the friends-in-law family. Hi everybody. I'm sorry.
Peace.
I've seen like all of y'all's videos probably like more than 5 times like each. I'm so ecstatic to be here at Emotional Outburst. Hi everybody, I'm so excited.
Indeed.
I am putting forth my effort in this moment to finish and complete the disqualification of judge and the notices. And I don't really have any questions. Well, I don't want to say I don't have any questions. I want to say that the only question that I think I truly have that you all have not continuously answered is, with this knowledge of and full understanding of all this, right? And not trying to go deep into the story and the background and take up everybody's time, I guess, is what is, because I also feel like the question was already asked, right? But like, what is that standing that keeps the quote unquote, because we know these terms, right? Parent in the standing of custody over our littles, um, because they are stating that this birth certificate,
It has
is,
nothing to do with the birth certificate.
and I know that, right? Because I've watched the videos. So I'm confused because of the quote unquote other knowledges that I've been taught, as far as like the trademarking and do all these things and do all of these things, but none of that has a full standing when it comes to these quote unquote agents coming to act as if they're coming for a call upon one's home.
What kind of issue specifically are you pertaining to when it comes to, it sounds like some type of family issue
So
or family code issue?
Yes, CPS was called to my house. I actually have two situations, kind of. The main one, I guess I'll
What
speak of
state?
Kentucky.
Okay, now CPS can interact with whom? Like, have you seen whom they could interact with?
Nobody.
Who they are? What's their mission? No, it's not that they can't interact with nobody. I'm just
Well, residents, agents,
Foster parents.
foster parent agents. Um, was it something else? Residents, agents, foster care. Yeah, so not me, pretty much.
Licensees.
so now. But the issue, it seems like what happened was
Have the social security and the birth certificate.
what would make the what would be the reason CPS would come to you or be interacting with you in any kind of way?
Um, my littles ran away. My littles got scooters and they decided to get on scooters and run away. And it became a thing like 3 or 4 days in a row. Like it became a thing. So this time they seen a hoverboard. They got on the hoverboard and they rode it down the street, and a car was following them, and they started yelling police. And the police came, and the police didn't do anything to the people who were in the car. So my son, they're only 7 and 9. My son got angry with the police and started throwing rocks at the police.
I'm sorry, that's funny. Go ahead, I'm listening.
I know, right? I know. Even with all we know, right? Like literally, it really is. But so the police came. My I have a medical condition, so I was not able in that moment to run out the door to go chase my children. Meanwhile, knowing what we know, I don't have to explain that to anyone. And you cannot come in my house. You cannot come to my door telling me you're gonna kick in my house, my door, if I do not come outside and speak to you. I'm under duress. I do not consent. I do not want to speak with you all. I did not call you all here. I appreciate you for giving me my children back. My children came in the door. I closed the door. When I closed the door, they immediately began to kick in the door and said that I needed to come out. I only have me and my two. So in that moment, they didn't allow me to calm my two down, check on my two. I'm already under duress, under duress, period, because I don't know where they are and all this. They had been gone for several hours. Um, it was wild. So now like I said, I'm in the process of filling out these forms and things, but I'm still not I guess my question again is, what is that keeps them after this, per se, or what so have you? Because we're not authenticating these birth certificates. We're not, going to the Social Security office and saying, here's my Social Security card back. Or are we? Like that, I guess, is what my question is. What is the next steps of living this lawful life without these per se things, right? And knowing that they're not going to come get our littles from us. Because I've been told trademarking, family Bible, I mean, just all of these things. And to my mind, it just does, none of it makes sense. So I haven't done any of it. I never partaked in any of it. I just kept sticking to your all's lessons and your all's classes, and I'm on top of it. But I still feel like that needs to be the only question, I guess, that really needs to be had is, well, what is it? Is there something?
Now, in my experience, not to cut your wisdom, just to add to it,
Yes.
when assisting with family law situations, um, usually when you know the agency's hierarchy, know who their, board is, who controls them. If you also are clear on how a particular agency establishes jurisdiction in a situation, then what one would be clear on just within themselves, first and foremost, before doing anything, is just knowing how, CPS can do what it is that they do. And usually they'll try to say something like, um, the home state of the child is how jurisdiction is established, but that may be for so-called courts or whatever. So specifically for where you are, you said Kentucky, it would probably be best to know specifically what it is for Kentucky, so you don't get a general response and then try to apply it in a jurisdiction where the general response is not sufficient for Kentucky jurisdiction. But to continue on the what is known as philosophical, or jurisprudence, right? Just to go over the, concept of what this is. Um, to me is always an assumption of the agency. That's to me. And they're always using some assumption to insert themselves. So instead of looking at what it is that you have done or not have done is the reason why they're doing anything, I think the only real concern would be to know when can they do that, and then focus on showing how the only way they can do what they can do was never established, whatever that may be.
Okay.
It,
Whenever.
now,
Let me jump in, bro.
Are you?
To cut your wisdom. Just like the sister said earlier, right? The one who's making the claim has the burden of proof. You don't have to know too much. You have to have an understanding, which sounds like you have a firm understanding after going through Malika's classes and stuff. But if you don't know how to proceed, the main thing is just to ask questions. By what authority are you requiring me to do this? By what authority do you say I have a duty to do X? By what authority do you believe that that I am who you say I am? Right, and that it also helps you figure out what they're doing. Right, you don't know what they're going, where they're coming from, what authority they're flexing, how they're what rights they're claiming to be able to do it. So just ask the question. You don't have to do anything. Right, and then when they do produce something, okay, what evidence do you have that this applies to me? Where does it say that? All right, where do you get that from? And once you go through those series of questions and having them prove what they're talking about, it should work itself out. You see what I'm saying? But always, whoever is making the claim, whoever's making statements, they always have the burden of proof. That's American jurisprudence at its finest. That makes sense?
It does. It does.
So you know, I understand it's the situation that you go through with these agencies and stuff, but it's the same thing no matter the agency. If somebody's saying you got to fill out this form, okay, by what authority are you saying that I have to fill this out? What authority are you saying that this applies to me? Right? And I'm just asking, I'm not making a challenge. I'm just trying to understand what's going on, because I've never seen these forms before, or I never talked to anybody about this before. I've never had any education on this before. Right? There's nothing wrong with saying I don't know. Right? So because you work there, this is your job. Help me understand and make them prove their claim.
And that's what the police could not answer. They just kept saying that it was law that I had to call the police because they ran away, and that it was law that they could kick in the door if I did not come outside.
Okay,
but
they can say whatever, but they have to prove it, right? And if they're saying it, can you put that in writing for me so that I can, I might want to seek counsel or something. So put that in writing that you say you can. It's the law for me to do what you said here, and this law, whatever, applies to me in my situation under these circumstances. Just write that down for me, right? And give me the authorities and who's making this determination.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I wrote in the claim last night. That's right. Okay.
And then wait for the questions. If they don't get a question, then you give a record of that, right? Notice of non-response to my questions. Can I please get an answer? See, so everything, this is paper. Like all of this is moving on paper. Written documentation, whether something is done, whether it's something not done, but it has to be done. Right? And then don't make any determinations of your own until you have gathered all of the facts. And then you can see, okay, well, this is what I have to work with. But by the time you get to that point, it should work itself out as to what exactly is going on. Right? But nobody makes mistakes. I'd say this, you can make statements all you want to, but then you have to prove whatever statements that you make. This doesn't apply to me. You got to prove it. I'm not this person. You got to prove it. You can't do that. You got to prove it. You understand what I'm saying? But if you just stay asking questions, where does it say, what authority are you relying on that says you can do this? Or what evidence are you relying on that I am who you say I am? Who do you say I am? Now it's a different conversation, right? That's number one. The burden of proof is on the one making the claim. Every time, all the time. Okay,
Oh,
I yield.
yeah, I knew that. Like when a young lady, you guys are familiar with
Sister
friend-in-law.
Meeks. Sister Meeks. She summed it up perfectly. That's exactly what it is.
So I'm
Uh,
sorry.
she
The
was
sister that I was talking earlier about the tickets and they having the burden of proof, it's the same thing, whatever with all
Exactly.
the agencies. It's the same thing.
Right. So my next question, I guess, is because on the citation I did not accept, but they placed it on the door anyway. That states that I'm already arrested. So I'm not going to court. Um, I'm choosing not to go to court. Obviously, we don't go in there. Of course. So my question with that is, what is this? Do you all understand, or can you give me any wisdom on why this box states that I'm arrested?
You said
Well,
it's a resident or arrested.
arrested. It's
Arrested.
But that again, that would be the question that you pose to the issuing agency, right? She said, "You talk whoever's responsible for prosecuting. If that's a citation that has to go to the DA, like I would ask, who's prosecuting this citation that I need to talk to regarding this, right?"
If
And
I
then you
can chime in real quick
go ahead,
too,
go ahead.
I just went. This is how when I first started doing this and getting more understanding with presumption and rebuttal, because presumption and rebuttal will really, I think, just save so much time. So, like for instance, I think you said it was Kentucky. So I went to the Kentucky CPS, like their website, right? And on there, and this is just a quick overview, it says that they have a cabinet overview. So they let you know it's a cabinet. It says that their mission is to be a diverse and exclusive organization providing program services and support that protects and promote the health and well-being of all Kentuckians and their communities. And it says a commonwealth where every Kentucky reaches their full human potential and all communities thrive. So even for me, like let's say if this is their presumption, right? I didn't their mission is to be diverse, a diverse and exclusive organization providing programs and services. I'm sorry, I did not ask for any programs and services. I didn't sign up for your program and services. So how can you force me to be a part of your program and services? You get what I'm saying? Like that's switching that burden. Like I went to your website and I saw that your mission is to be diverse and exclusive, and you guys are providing programs and services that support and promote. And why I do, and I think that this is a great program. However, I never signed up for any program and I never signed up for your services. Can you provide me anything that say I've requested your services?
Right.
Just take their words and switch it to them. That's all you got to do.
Exactly.
And that's
so
It
in my
says
Exactly.
you saying
yeah,
that you're trying to reach full human potential and communities thrive. I didn't invite you into my community, into my home. Do you
and
have anything? Do you have any burden of proof to say that you can force me to be in your program?
and to finish on that trajectory with the experience that I was sharing in helping a sister out in LA get her baby back, that got her baby back. If I may finish the experience I was sharing.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I've seen
Okay.
yo,
Just wanted to make sure I could finish giving the experience, right? Along with the theory being spoken here. Um in
please.
that experience again, what was done after, of course, asking those questions, right? And forgive me for not outlining the full steps of it all and just surmising due to the time constraints. What I did was, after we had those questions asked, and after going on their website and finding out what their mission is and their duties and who oversees whom, there were notices, letters, whatever you want to call them. There was no court being held, so to speak. It was just us speaking to the heads of whomever took that young lady's child and put that child in foster care, absent of the prerequisites necessary to do so. Once that conversation was had through four different of the same court, because this young lady, I was like, no, just you can send it 3 times. You sent it 4 times, They threw her baby back up. Now, I'm not saying that this is the ideal outcome all the time, every time. What I'm saying in that experience, what took place was all the fundamentals being discussed. That's what took place. And the young lady was able to get her children back because all of what was spoken about today and shared collectively is what was instituted in order for her to get her baby back. Did they have any paperwork? And they say, "Oh, I'm sorry." No. They was like, "Hey, come get your baby from this location." You know what I mean? So
Oh my
that was,
God, I told y'all the location.
I mean, it was some lady's house. That was some foster lady or whatever. She went, caught an Uber 2 hours from where she was, went and got her baby. That was that. Heard nothing else from that agency. They weren't trying to do it. So what she should be doing from this point on, hopefully, she'll eventually sue those people for that inconvenience. But I don't know from that point. You know what I mean? But in terms of that, one moment, in terms of that, um, you know, that's what took place as far as at least getting her child back. So even though that's not necessarily your particular situation, what I'm saying is principally what was at the base of it. Yes, we
Yes,
did ask them for documentation. We did ask them where and on what were they moving with. We did ask them that. But we also asked those questions because we already knew the answer to. So we
right.
didn't just blindly ask those questions. We did equip ourselves with the knowledge because that's what I do when I coach people. I want to make
Yes.
sure that they're equipped with the knowledge first because that's why we're here anywhere in this community because we don't know. Right. So with that being said, I
Can I,
yield. That was my answer to your inquiry. I yield.
I got one more little note if there's nobody else's hand up. Hassan, can you hear me?
Go right ahead. There's no other hands up. And I guess
Oh,
after this one, we could yield because I know we're about an hour and 7 minutes over time. But
I
you can
just
go
want to
right
say
ahead.
okay, this could just be an emotional outburst. I just want to say that with your wisdom and all that you all have done, I came to you all I don't know, a year, I don't know, a year and a half ago, 18 months ago, and I asked the question about authenticating the birth certificate because I heard the knowledge that y'all was speaking, long story short. And my 14-year-old, this is before they ran away a few weeks ago, right? My 14-year-old, she's now 14, but she was taken away from me at 9 months because of the birth certificate. That's what the police officer said to me when they took my baby away. So to her, the wisdom that you all have done and that you all have given out, like I'm able to even speak up for myself and understand that I don't even need, because I've never even wanted the money. I've always wanted the lawful living and these Bible studies and everything. This is just so amazing and miraculous. And I'm just so grateful, like so grateful. Because what my question was going to be was after 14 years, did they drop y'all that location or not after 14 years? But was it multiple years? Because that's my question. Like, how am I going to find them? Because once I tell them that they can't do nothing for me, and I know all this, then how am I going to get to my baby was my next question. But then your wisdom just gave me more uh I don't know, fire to my flame to go ahead and put this stuff in because I want to do the torque so that I can get it out understood to them that I know that they did me wrong, right? I don't want the money, I want the baby. So it was making me be procrastinate to do the work of putting the papers in so that I could get my baby girl because I don't want the money, I want the baby girl. You know what I'm saying? So now I have that understanding of I don't even have to do that. I can search and get my baby girl. I'm just so grateful, you all. I'm just so grateful. You all have a marvelous night, and I'm gonna have a marvelous night, and I'm gonna go cry, joy, tears of joy. What she always say? What Malika say, y'all? Tears of something. I got all the happy tears. Thank y'all so much. Oh my gosh.
Indeed. Guys, just please, just any issue you're dealing with, just research it. Whoever the people who they are. while you're asking questions, research, or before you ask your questions, make sure you know the answer to the questions you're going to ask. All right. That family law stuff, yeah, it's tough. It's really, really tough. Um, however, like I said, I've seen some unconventional successes with it. It's just that the most recent was that young lady, when near Los Angeles County. So, uh, if there are no more questions, comments, and or suggestions, is Malika still here?
Yeah, I got one thing I did a long time ago is I set up my whole family and I have different genealogies, and so I set it up with family tree DNA, so we're all related, and that I think that was a good idea because you always know where they are, you know. But the downside to that is I found 22,000 cousins. So I just thought I'd let you know and where they are, their email addresses, and I don't know most of them, but we're related. Anyway, just thought I'd put that out there.
Brother Hassan,
Yes.
can you hear me? One
Yes.
of the things I do, because I remember this was told to me before, but I didn't know how it connected. But when you brought up the information about um, the mission statement, and I went back and did a review, and what I found out about the mission statement on any business, it's documented and it's broken down with key positions about how the mission statement is going to work for the company. Like it might give a small synopsis, like the core information right at the beginning. Then it's going to come up and give you the core mission, then whatever specific key functions, any specific service that's going to be delivered, any type of guidelines or principle regarding the business. And that's how I'm associating it with how others can, if they're unsure what to look for. And I thank you for that again. Is the mission statement. And as I was reading something over, the mission statement really breaks down the process of the operations and how the business or the company is going to be operating the process by the means that is going to operate. So I wanted to thank you for that, but I also wanted to make mention to anyone else here, and including myself, that that is one of the means of getting the breakdown of the operations of any business that is operating. I yield.
Indeed. Gratitude. Who?
Somebody come out, they need, people need to correct their status and stuff. They call themselves chief, Yasun.
Chief Yasun? Or that's who you said imitating Malika Page? Let me see. My wife is letting me know, y'all, that someone who calls himself Chief Yasan or Yasin or some shit or like that or whatever, who's into status correction packages and all that, that's one of the people who seems to be uh imitating Malika's page. What's that, TikTok? Why, they just solicited you or something?
You got to change the tag.
Oh, it says lawful living dot capital C capital O capital M, but at the bottom of it it says at chief dot YAHSON. And it's, oh wow. Okay.
Don't go down there, bro.
Interesting. That's who he is.
Mhm.
I'm saying what it said in his caption. Yeah. Got you. Got you. Okay. That's interesting. That is interesting. Alrighty. So yeah, guys, watch out for those those imitator pages or whatever. So you guys don't you already know, Malika doesn't do anything in outside of her link, honestly. For you guys that do reach out to me through TikToks and things of that nature, if I ever respond to you, I'm going to respond to you with my link. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, I'll tell you to take it to the email so you can respond that way or whatever, like that. But other than that, guys, usually you got to go through the website. You know what I mean? Pretty sure if you guys wanted to share the consultation link, you guys could. You guys know when I'm hosting, I'm not going to be doing too much of the sharing links to make sure I'm attentive. In case I got to screen share myself, which I haven't today, but it's all good. And I think I'm thankful for everyone sharing. Um, I trust our communication is clear during a Mercury retrograde that we're experiencing right now. I can see why there can possibly be um, gaps in the communication and comprehension of what's being communicated. But I trust that what we're able to do is rely on a protocol for making sure that what we are wanting communicated to us or needing to have communicated to us will be received so that we can be able to have our objectives met. All right. Malika. Oh, Sunny's the host now. Great. Okay, great, great, great. So, Sunny, I think we're good. We did more than enough overtime. Um, and we will see ye all on Thursday for our action planning Thursday. For those that have watched the full As Above, So Below series and have taken your notes, if you haven't and you would like access to those Thursday and Friday classes, then the prerequisite is to complete with your notes, all right? Complete the As Above, So Below series.
So why don't you stay out
All
here?
right.
You just gotta look for it.
Jake, you wanted to? Oh, okay. I thought Jake was about to say some things there. Okay. All righty then. Well, if that is all, and we are going to yield, you guys go and eat well and rest and recharge well. We'll see you all on Thursday. Pieces.